I'm bad at timing this. I'm sorry, guys. Let me take the timer off the screen so you can see my arguably moderately attractive face. How is everybody doing tonight on Twitch? This is going to be a fun one because in just a few minutes I have the privilege, nay the pleasure, to introduce to you our special guest host who, for the record, can hear every word I say, cannot respond, aside from a cheeky grin that he's currently giving me in the ad hoc virtual green room. So let me know how you guys are doing. We're going to bring him in just a minute. Tonight's game will be powered by TrivNow. You will need the TrivNow app on a mobile device of your choice. Any Android or Apple device will work. Why not Windows devices? Because nobody has a Windows device. They tried. They failed. They moved on. You should too. In any event, let me know how you guys are doing. Listwitz, thank you so much for the raid. Good to have you guys in. Who else do we have in? Cam, El Guapo, Free Ruckus. I imagined that I would see you tonight. It's either Thalcott or T. Halcott. I've never positive how that screen name is pronounced. Hair's looking slick tonight, you say. I showered for once. Femily, how are you doing this evening, my friend? I will let you know that our special guest host is looking dapper as well. I actually had a Zune Listwitz, and yes, it is worthless. TrivNow isn't supported on your Nokia brick, regretfully. No, Cam. Thalcott, you got it. Thank you so much for the clarification. Hey, Katie, how you doing tonight? Let's get you your love fest, as always. My friend Jason has said hello to himself, interestingly, in chat. I guess that's one way to refer to yourself in the third person. But I understand how this works. You guys aren't, strictly speaking, here for me. You are here in honor of our very special guest host. Our first ever, if memory serves, I can't say international host, because we've had Andy Saunders on here from Canada. So our first ever BritCon host. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stream, live, in person, and awake at 2 in the morning for your quizzing needs. This is the Quizzing Ronin, Mr. Addy Lewis. Addy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm a bit nervous, bit excited. Yeah, really looking forward to doing this.
Why are you nervous? You've been in this stream 100 times. You know everybody.
That's true. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along and taking part in this. I really, really appreciate everyone doing this. Yeah, it's late
pointing
for
out
me.
That you're draped in the St. Andrew's Cross. Apparently, he's never met you in person because I've never seen you outside of it.
It's surgically attached to my body, and the T-shirt. The T-shirt was actually a present at my was what I got from the Secret Santa at work last Christmas. Quizmaster.
Oh, fantastic! It makes me feel like I want to send you some Liquid Kourage branded Quizmaster shirts, but that's a whole franchising discussion that we can have down the road. In any event, I like you. I want to get you a shirt, so I'm going to do that at some point. It'll probably say "Do shots and touch butts," so you let me know if that's either appropriate for Scotland or mandatory.
Well, speaking of Liquid Kourage swag, my drink today, I do have a can of Iron Brew.
Of course,
only one, because I forgot to get more. The other thing I'm drinking is Vimto, which is a grape, raspberry, and blackcurrant fizzy drink, which is fantastic. And I am drinking it from my very own Liquid Kourage shot glass.
I feel like we tried that at one point and learned that because it's a carbonated beverage, it is not the best idea, but I appreciate the commitment to the bit, good sir.
A few weeks ago, I did drink the entire can by way of a dozen shots, and not the best of ideas. I don't drink alcohol, so but yeah, if you like one of these, by the way, then support Jason and Liquid Kourage Entertainment on Patreon, which you should totally do because these quizzes are fantastic. Jason's fantastic, and this is his full-time job, so chuck him a few bucks.
You know you are far too kind to me. You know that, right?
I speak the truth.
But, I'm certainly grateful for the support. I'm very grateful that you are taking an unreasonable amount of your night and an unreasonable time of night to present this quiz. Do you want to take a couple minutes for those of us who in chat do not know you as intimately as, say, the Trivial Warfare Army or the Crop might, and tell everybody about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what your third favorite prime minister is?
I'm Addy, as you can tell. I'm from Scotland. I'm from Dumfries on the English border. I'm actually ethnically English. Almost all my family is is English, exception of one grandparent.
Okay.
My brother was born in England, so he has more Welsh in his blood than he does Scots, which is a bit of a running joke in the family. My day job is I do income reconciliations for local government. I am not working tomorrow, hence being able to stay up as late as I am tonight. So money goes into the local authority. I make sure it goes into the right place.
Okay.
So I've actually been, because that includes physical checks, people do still send in checks. So I haven't been on lockdown at all. I've been on lockdown, but I've been going into the office every day.
Right.
So I haven't actually, this is actually really my first time off in about 5 months.
Oh goodness, you poor man.
Yeah, so that's fine because I've got the office to myself, so I can listen to podcasts such as Jason's Bold podcast, Quadrivia, which you should definitely check out. I can listen to that at my desk with no issues, and I'm not the kind of person who gets phone calls, so fortunately, I don't really have to do any. I can have my headphones in all day.
Oh, fantastic!
So when I'm not doing that, when I'm not working, I'm a bit of a quiz obsessive. I tend to do, well, in normal times, in the precedented times, I tend to do between 3 and 6 pub quizzes a week. In the online times, I've kind of upped that to more like 15 to 20. I do most of those quizzes. You may have seen seen the team in various streams. No better social distancing than the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm. I think we're all well aware of your team.
Probably
at this
are
point.
well aware of that. So, my team are playing today without me, which means they are actually a purely American team. And I promise you, they know nothing about the questions. When it comes to people I'm closest to, those are the people I keep farthest away from anything like this as I'm doing.
I appreciate the integrity there for sure.
They will have no advantage whatsoever.
For what it's worth, they have chosen the team name tonight, No Better Social Distancing Than the Eastern Time Zone.
Which makes sense because all of them are in the Eastern Time Zone. I think Indianapolis, Washington, D.C., and Maryland, and Chicago.
Just to actually on that, Chicago is in the Central Time Zone, so Nicole is socially distanced compared to the rest of the team.
That is true, yes.
I mean, we can look at the Eastern Time Zone, I think. It's real close. But, yeah, that's why it is 8 o'clock locally and not 9 p.m., thankfully.
Absolutely. You asked for the third favourite Prime Minister. That's a difficult one. Well, my favourite Prime Minister, to be clear, is obviously Clement Attlee, the guy who... I'm going to spare you all my Winston Churchill's a genocidal racist rant and say that when Clement Attlee was running the War Council, so he was heavily involved in World War II, but more importantly, set up the welfare system in the UK afterwards, such as he set up the National Health Service. Well,
fantastic.
However, Naira and Bevan set up National Health Service. Clement Attlee was Prime Minister when that happened. So he facilitated that happening. So Clement Attlee is my absolute favourite. Third, I'm not sure on that one. Can't tell you off the top of my head.
The greatest thing is you made a solid effort to answer what was very obviously a joke interview question. I appreciate that very much, Addy.
Absolutely.
Let's catch up on chat here real quick, see if we haven't missed anything. There has been a hat redemption, and you know how those work. You've been here often enough. Brian has requested, if possible, that the Ronin wear a hat, if that is at all anything that is amenable to you. I cannot obligate it. You are welcome to turn it down. I will wear a hat on your behalf, but the offer / the request has been thrown out there, so you decide what to do based on that. Brian, by the way, thank you for the 50 bits, kicking off the financial portion of the evening. Seraphim, Carmela, thank you for the resub. Wondering where the Iron Brew is. She may have come in right after you gave it the... There it is. The product placement moment.
I do not have any hats, I'm afraid. I actually literally don't own a single hat.
Oh, goodness, okay.
I will...
to be fair, you are wearing a flag, though, so I think you're okay.
Yeah. I am wearing...
Well, I think we glitched there for a few seconds, but it looks like we have you back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no big deal. We lost your audio there for about 2 seconds, and then your screen kind of froze up. Bear in mind that this is all based on the whims of intercontinental data aggregation. So if we lose Addy, we will do our darndest to get him back. We will, very importantly, for you and you alone, Addy, make sure this is not a 4-hour stream.
No, absolutely. I was vaguely aware of what happened that time. I didn't know the details. I was obviously asleep at that during last week's.
8 very fun, very moving partsy rounds was the short version of that. In any event, speaking of the game and how it's going to flow, that information is up on our screen. Addy, would you like to take a moment and walk us through the 50-question game you have prepared for tonight?
Yes, I will. Yeah, if you've ever played one of Jason's general knowledge games, like his Saturday or Thursday games, then it's going to work very similar to that. Basically, it is. It's 5 rounds of 10 questions. Essentially, all of it's general knowledge of different flavors. The first round, general knowledge based on things that Addy likes. But I assure you, it is actual. This was basically just an excuse for me to write questions about things that I like. It is all general knowledge. They're not ridiculously obscure questions. It's just, I figured that was how I would frame it. So it is just general knowledge. The second question, round 2, because of course Scotland rules the world. I couldn't go the whole quiz without doing a round like this. But again, like to make it not excessively BritCon based round. This is actually about Scottish people or things from all around the world.
Oh, very nice.
There actually really isn't very much pure BritCon in there. There's a big good variety there. Third is the broken buzzer round. If you do Lee the George's broken buzzer streams, then you will know this is when I give you. Then the question will involve when you get the first letter of bits of the question. So normally for these rounds it would be the first letter of each word in the first line of a song. This is a bit different because it is not music based. There are, for example, I'll give you the first letter in a famous quote by a famous person, or the first letter of each word of an advertising slogan, or a film quote, or something like that. So it's a non-music based broken buzzer round, which I'm hoping will go down quite well.
Though to be fair, there is at least one music based question in the round, so I don't want to bait and switch anybody.
Well, no, there are two. There is exactly 2 music based questions in the round.
Okay, excellent.
I can say that. Round 4, before and after. So if you haven't done those round before, it's 2 answers. I need you to give them both, and they run into each other. So, Jason, do you have an example of one off the top of your head? Because I forgot to come up with
before and
one.
After. Let me think. 16th century U.S. or 16th U.S. president plus a major thoroughfare to get to the island of Manhattan would be Abraham Lincoln Tunnel. It's a terrible example because the tunnel is literally named for Abraham Lincoln, but
their answers run into each other, and you'll need to give both answers in that. I've tried to make these as funny as possible and as interesting as possible. So I think you should get a good laugh out of some of these.
Oh, I just realized a better example might be an Asian agricultural area plus tonight's spotlight host would be a rice Paddy Lewis. And I think that fits the motif a little bit better than my original example.
I so seriously considered using my own name as one and decided against it in the end.
Well, I'm very glad you decided against it because I would have just spoiled it for everybody.
Hey, Jason, you got a bit.
And the last round is general knowledge again, but specifically it is funny or interesting stuff. So it's not just conventional general knowledge questions. It's facts that I found were interesting. And quite a few of these, admittedly, I was inspired by the Today I Learned Reddit.
Oh, I love the Today I Learned subreddit.
Which is fantastic.
I have saved so many of those posts over the years so that I can go back and use them for general knowledge trivia, and then I forget that I did it, so I've never actually used them. I have about a 2.5-year backlog of saved posts that I really should just do a whole round about.
Yeah. Now, for each how many points each question is worth is up to you. There is one round that is worth 1 point, one round that is worth 2 points, one that's worth 3, one that's worth 4, and one that's worth 5, and that's for every question. And you choose which one that is. When you see the first question in each round, you will put in your wager for that round. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So whichever round you feel like you might be most confident
Jason,
in. Admittedly, these sometimes that's with Jason's normal games, the subjects are more distinct, and it's easier to determine where your strengths and weaknesses are. In this case, yeah, have a go what you think might be your best subject.
Now, fortunately, there's a couple rounds that have a certain writing conceit to them, so that there is a little bit of strategy involved. You may excel at Lita George's broken buzzer questions every week, for instance. So maybe you would consider putting high points in that round. You may hate having to come up with 2 answers and having them fit in a Venn diagram. So maybe before and after isn't your round. The important thing is, teams, you have the ability to kind of confidence weigh each round based on how well you'll think you'll do on it.
Exactly. You also have 3 freebies to use at any point in the quiz. So you can literally click the button in TrivNow which says freebie, and you will automatically mark as correct for that question. So I would recommend that obviously you would use that on your higher point value questions and your 4s or your 5s, but it's entirely up to you how you do that. Of course, your 4 or 5 point round might be the rounds in which you're less likely to use them anyway because you think you know more of the answers. So again, there's a bit of strategy there and where you use them. So that's entirely up to you, but you've got that option there. If you're really stuck on an answer, you've got the freebie option.
Absolutely. So as some people have pointed out in chat, this is effectively as close to the Thursday night classic stream or the Saturday afternoon classic stream as possible. Addy liked the format and decided to write towards it. The fundamental difference is I didn't write any of these questions, and Addy has come up with 5 unique rounds. So with that said...
There is one over distance. Sorry,
go ahead.
There is one over distance. There is no final. There's no final question.
That is also a very important distinction. There is no wagering question anywhere in here. We will end strictly at question 50. The maximum score, therefore, is 150 points, which is a nice roundish number.
Yep.
So as
and I think there'll be a break at the halfway point as well. Is that...
Yeah. If you're good with that, we'll turn that into a little 5-minute AMA while I put my kids and wife to bed as usual. Addy, I don't know if you know this, but we have 25 teams already and 74 active viewers in chat. You have an audience, my friend.
Wow. Thank you so much for everyone for coming along, and also thank you if anybody's watching this after the fact. I know a lot of my British friends and family might be they're in bed just now, so they might be watching this afterwards on Twitch. So thank you and hello to you as well. It's fantastic to see so many people here, and I really hope you. Thank you so much for the kind words everyone's posting in the chat. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, very important note. This channel does keep the videos on demand for 2 weeks, which is as long as Twitch kind of lets me do it lazily. So by all means, spread the word around, especially for our fans in the UK who, unlike Addy, are in bed at a reasonable time. With those 25 teams, I'm going to do just a real quick roll call. Addy, feel free to chuckle appropriately when team names come up. But of the 5 teams we have in order of sign-up, we have Too Many People, Flexie's Midnight Runners, Team Coast to Coast, the aforementioned No Better Social Distancing Than the Eastern Time Zone, Nerd Immunity, we have El Guapo, Taco Tuesday, Brian Murphy Backwards, we have Trio Dad, Xeno Librarian, Kilty Pleasures, excuse me, I almost misread that, and that's an important distinction. Who Wants to Be a Pub-a-Chair, Super Duper, Oh No, Gospodina, Caberry, Sean and Carmela, I Love Haggis, Solo, Sleepy Sheep, Weird Lex But Okay, William Wallace and Gromit, Crake Section 8, Gregorian Chance the Rapper, and yeah, apparently we have Gregorian Chance the Rapper twice. No big deal. Actually, very important note, before we get started, I'm going to run through and just make sure everybody has the appropriate version of the TrivNow app queued up, because I just saw a thing and we're going to have to address that. Gregorian Chance the Rapper, we're going to give you a couple minutes. You're going to want to go into your App Store or Play Store and find the most recent version of the TrivNow player app and download it, because the wagers and the freebies will not work under the version that you currently have installed. We will hold a minute or two for that. It's been a little while since I had to make that announcement, but just to clarify, they have released a new distinct version of the app that now auto-updates, so fortunately we shouldn't have to go through this again. In any event, Gregorian Chance the Rapper, it looks to be Wilbert Gilbert, team captain. Take a minute or two, get the latest version of the TrivNow app, come back in, we will wait for you. It is paramount, unfortunately. Oh, it's all good. It is all good. The freebies and the wagers are not native in the version of the app that you currently have. They were added, I think, at like the beginning of June, if memory serves. So kind of an important moving part. Let me catch up here on chat. Yeah, Ginny Pond, the aforementioned team, wanted to get your attention, let you know that they were here and voting.
That is Ranjani. Hello, Ranjani.
Hello, Ranjani. Pleasure to officially meet you.
Yep.
And repronounce that pubic hair. Oh, it's supposed to be who wants to be a pubic hair. I was confused because it looks like pub and chair, which is what we're combining for this live quiz. The concept of a pub quiz and a very comfortable chair I see you have, Addy.
It is, yes. Yeah, this is the chair that I got with my winnings from a quiz show a few years ago.
Oh, congratulations on that. I asked my wife
yeah.
very nicely to get me a new chair, and she's awesome, so she did.
Yeah, I wanted to get myself something sort of permanent because I was moving into this house at the time, and I thought, yeah,
Hey, Jason,
proper.
you got a bit.
I thought if the most comfortable chair in the house is in the office, then it's more likely that I'm going to sit and be productive and do things at the home office.
Oh, fair enough.
Rather
for sure.
than in the living room. So,
with the exception of just getting that one version of the app updated, we are more or less ready to go. So I'm going to consider it about your 2-minute warning to sign up. If anybody needs to get involved, I'm going to put that command in chat again.
oh, and one very important thing I need to point out to everyone: the categories for each round are clues in a lot of cases. The categories are sometimes just, so you'll see the question on screen. You will also see the category. The category is very often relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to those.
Much the same as in Trivial Warfare or in the final questions of Triviality's game. Each question has kind of a bespoke, often cluey description to it, which is interesting for me because this is the first time I've run a Triv Now game where the round descriptions didn't match the question categories. But I think we got it all set up. Will in St. Louis says that they are fixed. I'm going to double check real quick. Let's Get Quizzical, I assume, is the new name. And if that's the case, then you are good to go. So, one more thing before we get started. Let's get some hype in chat for Addy and let me know that you are ready. While you're doing that, Addy, on behalf of you, I will drink the drink of choice and toast you with the iron brew that you will inevitably be pouring in that Liquid Kourage shot glass.
Yep, thank you very much. I will get this open and...
I like how your camera autofocus. Cheers to you, Addy.
Hey,
Thank
Jason,
you.
got a
Thank you
bit.
very much for this. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do this.
The pleasure and privilege, I cannot stress enough, are entirely mine. This whole game took me 20 minutes to set up, which is obviously very efficient for me, so thank you for that. It looks like everybody's ready to go. So, very quick note for you guys who have done our Twitch streams on Triv Now before. There will not be a delay between when the question hits the screen up here and when it hits your app, because Addy will be prompted with this screen up here. So bear that in mind, that there will be a fewer seconds than usual to answer each question. That said, we will do our best to make sure everybody gets in on any given question. So without further ado, your first category is general knowledge based on things Addy likes. Addy, are you ready?
I am ready, yeah.
Well, I assume they're ready because your first question is coming now.
Thank you very much, everyone. Remember,
take that down.
this is round one, general knowledge based on things that I like. Wait until...
Let's see how bad that delay is right now.
Yeah, the category is my favorite trivia question. What was the first human-made object capable of breaking the sound barrier?
For what it's worth, I like this question too when I first discovered this fact. It's a neat little factlet for sure.
It's... yeah, always like this one.
So answers are starting to come in. Looks like we have 27 teams registered. The first third of them have submitted. I'm going to use my best judgment as to what you will and won't accept as a correct answer. So far, no issues there. Full disclosure, if you ever see my mouth moving but you can't hear me, it's because I am addressing a grading question directly to the Quizzing Ronin, or I have forgotten to unmute my mic. Either is likely at this point.
Fair enough.
Good,
yeah, because it's interesting because I'm speaking to Jason via Zoom, not via Twitch. So
yeah, a whole lot of moving
actually
parts in these
match
spotlight
up.
streams. So we'll give you guys about 10 seconds of grace to hit that submit button. Time is officially up. We have 25 answers in. I believe we're looking for 25, but it's never really certain because it's the first question of the game. And in that said, I think we got everything we're going to get, so I'm going to close it out. And Addy, What is the first
the
human-made object capable of breaking the sound barrier?
Well, that goes back to antiquity. It is actually a whip. The crack that a whip makes is a sonic boom. That is the sound of a whip breaking the sound barrier.
Thousands of years old that technology is.
Yeah, I love that to ask this question, because you find people thinking about planes or rockets, and then you think they're being a bit clever, and you think maybe you're going bullets or something like that, and then you realize, oh wait, further back still. So.
And for what it's worth, I think I saw at least one instance of each of those potential answers that you mentioned.
Yeah, I said done that the first time I got this question. I probably got it wrong myself doing the same thing. So.
All right, let's move on to question 2. See if we can keep the pace going for you.
Yeah. Question 2 is in the. So it appears on screen.
Oh, yeah, we're sitting on about a 10-second delay. Yeah.
Category is animals and sports. Which animal can be an accessory in snooker, a card game, or any sports team from the University of Richmond?
Richmond, you say? I feel like we have mutual friends in that particular area. Is that the case?
I believe we do, yes. Erin Barclay, Orange Cat Trivia.
Yep. Several other friends from her community as well. So if Fox News is in here,
yes.
Huge shout out to you as well. But let's get Orange Cat Trivia some love here on Twitch. Her live game is both live and simulcasted on Twitch now every Thursday and I know you're in that game a lot. So that, I believe, is 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Is that midnight British summertime? Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, that's correct. It is midnight British summertime. Those are fantastic games. Really recommend checking those out.
Oh, she is so good at what she does. I stand on the shoulders of giants whenever I get the opportunity to work with her. So time officially up now, 23 answers in. Let's see if we can get that last one or two. We'll give you about 5 seconds of grace. Erin is indeed dope, Carmela. I know that you guys have a strong quizzing and non-quizzing friendship alike. So hitting the end button with 25 answers in. Again, I feel like that's what we're going to see on these. Actually, at 26, just snuck in the nick of time. Good timing as we release that answer.
Which is my favorite animal and also my favorite sport. So it's a snooker question, and it's also a spider question. University of Richmond teams are the Spiders. Spider is a form of solitaire, and it is a sort of the bridge arrest type thing, so for angling your shot better.
Oh, is that what it's specifically called in snooker, or is that more of just a UK term thing?
I think it's I think it's generally in snooker. There's technically a difference between arrest and the spider.
Okay.
I'm not totally au fait on all the equipment, but it is a term used for it because it looks a bit like a spider.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, I think we play more pocket pool 8-ball style games here in the U.S. and I've always heard that particular device, or at least the similar one, called a bridge. So spider is new information for me.
I think a bridge is slightly different to a spider.
Okay. Let's move through to question 3 real quick. Should be to your devices now. Question 3 is in... Here, I'll give the category because it saves a little time. The category, unconventional music genres.
So change one letter in a word meaning intense or extreme, and you get what new genre of music, consisting of medieval-style covers of modern songs, sometimes instrumental, and sometimes with old English-style lyrics. And spelling does count on this one. Mm-hmm. I think this is about the only question in the quiz where spelling genuinely does count.
I can see exactly one specific reason why spelling counts here, and I don't think it's because it's particularly difficult to spell. We just need a distinct answer because you have to change one letter from another word. I
am looking for the genre of music, not the word that means intense or extreme.
Yep. And inevitably, when a team answers with the word meaning intense or extreme, we now have the ability, Addy and Triv now, to request a clarification. So expect that to come if it is necessary.
I love that feature. It came in handy for us quite a few times in our keyboards, actually.
It is what it is. Just about 10 seconds left. I'm pretty sure we have these questions set at 1:15, which is our standard Twitch timer. It just, for whatever reason, feels like it's going faster, and I think it's because I have someone to talk to for once.
Alicat, by the way, I just have to say, Alicat does now, spiders are super cute. I appreciate how terrified everyone is. Anybody who has seen me around wasps knows I've been known to run away from lawnmowers thinking they were wasps.
Oh, goodness, okay.
Yeah, I am absolutely terrified, and I have an infestation just now.
Oh,
but yeah,
Lord,
spiders
I'm so
for
sorry.
some reason I've always thought were adorable.
All right, last seconds to answer. Make sure you hit submit in 3, 2,
And I'm going to
1.
post an example of this in the chat in a minute once we've got.
I
the
actually
answer
had
up
one
on this
queued up in case you didn't.
Go for it. No, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
But I mean, if you have a particular one in mind,
No,
by
go-
all means,
no.
and I can open it.
No, by all means,
All right,
go ahead.
25 answers came in. About 18 teams got it. So, Addy, what is that genre of music?
The word meaning intense or extreme is hardcore. Change the first letter to a B and you get bardcore. It's also known as tavern wave. And yeah, I think Jason is going to post an example in the chat. It is fantastic fun. Some of them are with lyrics and some of them are just instrumental.
I'm actually playing a
it's
YouTube
really,
video
really
of a bardcore version of Metallica's Nothing Else Matters right now. Because of Zoom, I don't believe that you can hear it. But I'll put it up on screen real quick so you can see that they are playing lutes. Now let's skip ahead a little bit so we can get some of the interesting parts.
I've got one as well, which I'm going to post in the chat. It's a version of Staying Alive, and it's an instrumental version of Staying Alive, and that starts off really, really quickly. There's no real introduction on that. So yeah, well,
No, there sure isn't.
So question 4.
Yep, coming at you right now. And the category for this one, I will let you say.
This one is Televisiones. Shout out there to Chris Hollister of Trivial Warfare. And the question is, Sarah, Cosima, Allison, Rachel, and Helena are main characters in a TV show that ran 2013 to 2017. Name either the show or the Canadian Emmy Award-winning actor who played all of them. Some early CanCon for you.
I'm trying to see why a particular answer isn't automatically catching.
Last names, as of general, are fine. There are exceptions, but unless stated, last names are fine.
Yep, no issues with that so far, at the very least.
Just.
Shampoo Cell saying they didn't unfortunately understand how the wagering worked specifically. They thought it was going to be per question in a round instead of prompted during the first question for the entire round. But it seems to have worked out because, quote, love being stuck with this 5. This is great.
Glad it's worked out for you.
Or sarcasm does not carry through in Twitch chat. One of the two,
Or possibly,
equally
in
likely.
which case, I am sorry, and I hope your 4-point round works out better if that's the case.
All right, time is up. We'll give you 5 seconds of grace to hit that submit button if you haven't done so already. 3, 2, 1, and everyone's in. Addy, go ahead and reveal.
Excellent, yeah. This is probably my favorite TV show. The show is called Orphan Black, and the actor is Tatiana Maslany, who is absolutely fantastic. She plays a dozen different characters. It's a really great. It's a kind of a conspiracy thriller show. It's also super progressive. It's extremely forward-thinking in terms of its approach to things like gender and sexuality.
Oh,
not so much
beautiful
on
show,
trans
and
issues.
Tatiana is a fantastic actor for sure. I have to check on a technical thing real quick here. CSK saying my team name is too many people. I tried to use a freebie for the hardcore question. Apparently it didn't work. Let me go back. I was in the wrong question. Let me see if I got an answer from you on it. Okay. I think if you submit a guess, it might override the freebie. I will give you credit on that, and I will manually remove the freebie for you from your option pool here. So no worries there. You have been given credit, and a freebie has been taken away. Thank you for letting me know, and I think it might honestly have to do with the fact that an answer was submitted, even though the answer was literally the phrase, I don't know. Question 5 coming through, and the category is, and again, one
Science!
I think you'll take.
Sorry.
That's all good.
Yeah, the category is science. Take the name of a chemical compound that includes C equals N and a word meaning euphoria, and you get what long-running surreal comedy webcomic?
I'm going to put it in chat, and I'm just going to clarify that the equal sign there is being used as a chemical symbol for a double bond, just so there is no confusion as to what we're representing there. Or at least I think it is.
I don't understand.
It actually should be a triple
sign.
bond, but there is no such thing as a triple equal sign. But that's why I'm here, because I have Google and you're doing all the talking. 25 seconds to submit.
And this seemed the best way to write the question that gave me the... This is a case of starting with an answer and then working backwards to get the question.
Oh, and I like it. I think you did a good job with it. No shade whatsoever. It's just a shame that particular symbol doesn't carry through well on Triv now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the get rate seems to be pretty good on this, so I don't think anybody's having a hard time understanding what the ask is. We'll give you guys about 5 more seconds to submit the name of that webcomic. 3, 2, 1, and 26 answers in. 21 of them got them right. You've got smart friends, Addy, or at least friends who are fans of...
Cyanide and happiness.
I am a big fan of exactly one of those things.
Yep, C equals N indicates cyanide, and yeah, Euphoria is happiness. Cyanide and happiness is bizarre, it's hilarious, it's depressing. Their depressing comic weeks are something else.
They're so morbidly hilarious. You have to have the right type of sense of humor, though. I can totally understand people who do not either get the joke or like the joke.
I definitely appreciate that. There's definitely some I think that's just not funny at all. But
all right, moving through to question 6. The category on this one is literature.
Or as Ben Young might say, literature. In its original conception, which paradox states that a person wishing to escape danger by claiming to be insane must be sane in order to make such a request, meaning it will always be denied?
I can't think of a joke answer here. I'm trying desperately. You know what the problem is? I have not imbibed enough to be as witty as I would hope so. Bass Ackwards, I think since the vast majority of teams understood what the ask was on that question, I'm not going to niggle over the semantics of it too much. But as to this question, you guys have about 30 seconds for the 10 or so teams still mulling it over.
I think, to be fair, if anybody had given cyanide happiness, I think you would be getting credit for it.
Without a doubt. And that was never a case that had to be ruled on, thankfully. Well, with that said, time ticking down, looking for 6 more answers here. Addy, how comfortable is wearing a flag as a fashion choice?
Not very. It is quite hot. And the problem is, because I've got a wasp nest somewhere to about 6 foot above my hand, I can't open the window because the wasp will probably try and get in that way. So, I mean, it's not particularly hot. Well, I mean, I don't know what temperature it is, but this house does get quite warm.
Grumblebur, unfortunately, having the same problem with the wagering system. Yeah, the wager applies through the entire round, not just the first question, but it is set up mechanically through the app to where you submit the wager for the round after you submit your first answer for said round. You guys have just a few more seconds before I end this question. Waiting on, I think, one team to hit submit. We'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are locked down. Only 25 answers made it in time, but of those, 19 were right, Addy, for a question that doesn't look like a literature question until you know the answer.
Which is Catch-22, and this is an example where the category was meant to be a clue there, because you're thinking of a paradox that would have been first popularly seen and codified in literature. Mm-hmm. It is Joseph Heller's Catch-22. The insane people wanted to get out of flying missions, but by pretending to be insane, they demonstrated that they were in fact sane, because sane people would not want to be flying missions.
Yep.
So there was no
beautiful
realistic
idea,
way
literarily speaking. Venum Veritas pointing out that was a heller of a question, Addy. Question 7 coming through.
Love it.
Is in the category of unique capital cities. Take it away.
Okay.
Momentarily, of course.
What country completes this sequence? Ecuador, Mongolia, Pakistan.
Yep, I assure you there is exactly one correct answer that makes sense to this question, even though it is kind of vague looking.
Yep, it looks vague, but there is exactly one correct answer for multiple reasons, actually.
Mm-hmm. And this was one that we earlier today workshopped ever so slightly.
Yeah, because originally it was even more vague than that.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I feared that there was no clear way to understand what the ask was.
Yep,
So,
fully appreciate that.
Oh, Bass Ackwards saying apparently this question was on Only Connect at some point.
I would fully assume, given it for this particular sequence, that it would be on Only Connect.
It strikes me, and I'm vaguely familiar with Only Connect, but from what I understand of the show, it strikes me as a very Only Connect-y style question, so stands to reason.
Absolutely.
So advantage to those of you who appreciate good British gaming shows. 10 seconds before I close this out. I'm still waiting on about a half dozen answers. BD pointing out that it was also on University Challenge at some point. This is a first for me, though, for what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine it possibly would be a question. Instantly, one of today's contestants is in the current series of University Challenge.
I thought I heard that. Yeah, that is fantastic.
My own team's, so No Better Social Distancing's Brian Nieves is representing the University of Glasgow in this season, and they've only recorded the first round because of COVID, but that episode is somewhere on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, fantastic. Best of luck to you, Brian. As I close this question out, it's been plenty past the timer. Only 22 answers made it in. That's the bad news. The good news is about 15 teams saw through what was going on here. So, Addy, do you want to walk us through this gettable but vague question?
Yeah, as I said, there are two sequences that work hand in hand here. The capital of Ecuador is Quito. The capital of Mongolia is Ulaanbaatar. The capital of Pakistan is Islamabad. The capital of Croatia is Zagreb. Put them in order in that sequence, and they spell out the word quiz. Quito is Ulaanbaatar, Islamabad, and Zagreb. So I was looking for Croatia. And also, these are actually the only four countries whose capital city is the only one that begins with that letter. There's only one capital city beginning with Q, only one with U, only one with I, and only one with Z, and it is those four countries.
Jason
So
pointing
well
out, I don't know
Croatia.
if you're aware of this, but apparently this was literally the halftime question of this week's Trivial Warfare under different dressing.
Because I'm off work this week, I haven't caught up on my podcast. So
well
done to anyone.
Thus concludes the series of venues in which you have heard this amazing question before.
Well done to anybody who got it from Trivial Warfare.
Question number 8 is in the category of video games.
Yep. The Protoss, Terrans, and Zerg are the playable factions in which real-time strategy video game franchise, which is virtually the national sport of South Korea.
Oh, I see what you did there with the wording, Addy. Well played. I don't know if you see that I see what you did, because I don't know if you intentionally did a thing or if it just happened to work out that way, but I see what you did there, and
It wasn't intentional, but now I see it. I actually this is actually a swap. Actually, this was going to be a different question. I swapped this one out fairly late.
Oh, okay.
What
was, just out of curiosity, unless you used it at a later point in this quiz, what
Nope.
was the original question if it had nothing to do with this?
I will explain. I'll answer that question afterwards, because the answer to that question could be an answer. Be a wrong
gotcha.
answer given
Okay.
here.
My friend Aaron from North Dakota saying he wants your pronunciation of the word Zerg to be his phone notification. Would you be willing to record that as an audio
sure I
file?
could
We'll post
do
it to
that,
our
yeah.
Discord. Our Discord, by the way, link coming to you right now. A lot of fun stuff, and pets, and feet, and it gets weird. 5 seconds before we close it out, I'm going to mute and ask you a thing real quick, Addy. So...
Yep.
All right, we're good to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 25 answers made it in time. 20 were correct. We were a little nitpicky on the form in which this answer came in. And that's because the name of the game is pretty specific. It doesn't matter if you broke it down into one word or two. But the name of that game, Addy, is?
It is StarCraft. It's basically the space version of Warcraft by the same developers. It is specifically StarCraft.
Hey, Jason,
The question
you
I
got a
was
bit.
going to put in, by the way, in place of this, is I was going to ask the same question about the factions, but give the factions from Command and Conquer.
Oh goodness. Okay.
I decided that Command and Conquer was, even though it's been a remastered edition of the first game has come out recently, I felt that was a little on the obscure side still, whereas StarCraft is still played, it's still ridiculously huge in competitive esports.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the top 3 to 5 games internationally in esports.
It was basically the game of, well, it and Counter-Strike were basically the games that launched competitive esports as a big thing.
And now you have, games like Overwatch, and I guess Valorant is rising up the rankings these days in esport competition. Rainbow Six Siege, things of that nature.
People will, in South Korea, people will literally crowd into stadiums to watch people play StarCraft. It's like, it's a stadium level sport, which is amazing.
It is absolutely mind-blowing. Question 9 coming through is in the category of film. Is it pronounced? It's film.
Yeah. The producers of a 2003 film have confirmed that Tom Cruise does not play, but Ken Watanabe does play the titular last what? And if those are supposed to be funny symbols at the end, that's just meant to be an ellipses.
Yeah, I caught that in one question on import, but for whatever reason I didn't catch it on this one. I have updated it in chat just in case, but I don't think, as long as you understand that word is supposed to be last,
yeah, I'm looking for a word
that,
I'm looking for a word that follows last.
And so far, it doesn't seem to be throwing anybody off as far as answers that have come in. You guys have about 25 seconds. Somebody parenthetically told me that they almost put a different answer because of that. Not so much a typographical error as a typeface error. It's a symbol that appears in certain font faces that doesn't appear universally in like UTF, so it does its best, and sometimes its best sucks. So everybody's in on this one. 24 teams were right. A 25th team was very close, and they understood who the host was on this, as they said the answer Ronin when they really needed
Samurai. This is actually one of the last questions I wrote in this quiz, funnily enough. Funnily enough, this whole round was actually the hardest round to write. Trying to write about things trying to think of 10 things I like, and I can also make into actually cromulent questions.
Right. I think you did a very good job on these, for what it's worth, coming in from an outside perspective. They're very solid.
The is, thank you. It is The Last Samurai. So Tom Cruise's character in the film is not considered to be, his character is not the last samurai. It is Ken Watanabe's character Katsumoto, which has been a bit of a point of contention for a long time because of the whole. It's the great white guy who goes into a foreign land and shows them how to do things. But it's clear this film doesn't really do that, because it's more that Tom Cruise's character knows strategy. So they've got the warrior might, and he's got the strategy side of things. He knows the enemy.
He's the Sun Tzu, not the Genghis Khan, as it were.
Exactly.
And question 10, to put an end to the round, is in the category of deliciousness.
The earliest known use of the name of what foodstuff is 997 Common Era in the town of Gaeta, then in Byzantine Italy?
Remember you and I talking through this question during pre-show, and we expect a couple different things to happen here. And without giving anything away, I will let you know how many of those different things actually happen as the answers come in.
Please do.
So far, it is playing like we expected.
And I apologize for any pronunciation. I only speak really English and sarcasm, so.
And I'd argue one of those, but that we can get into that at a later time.
I've toned it down a lot in my old age. At the old age of 33, I'm not as bad for it as I used to be.
20 seconds to go, about 15 answers in so far, so we're waiting on about a dozen of you. And make sure you hit those submit buttons. About 4 answers outstanding, and we'll give you 5 seconds of grace from this point. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As I close it down, we have 25 answers in officially, and of those, yeah, about almost right around 2/3 of teams got this. Now that I've closed out the question, Addy, we can kind of peel the curtain back here a little bit. And in case you're wondering, 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 teams went with the red herring that we talked about during pre-show, where they gave an answer that is related to pasta or noodles or spaghetti. The vast majority of teams did pick up what we were looking for, which is what food stuff?
It is pizza. I thought this was going to be split between pasta and pizza, and yeah,
just because of the
correct
wording,
answer.
yeah.
Yeah, because of the wording, I think where you're looking for an Italian food stuff, those two are the most obvious ones. But yeah, the word pizza has been used for over 1,000 years.
My goodness, I didn't know that it was that old. I know the first pizzeria is several hundred years old, but
Go ahead. Yeah,
sorry.
so I was gonna ask about where it was invented. Possible slight question marks over that. Is one of those foodstuffs that kind of evolved over time rather than just coming into being. Because obviously it's just a flat bread with stuff on it.
It's an open-faced sandwich, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So as we take our first peek at the leaderboard, Too Many People has too many points compared to everybody else. They're leading 45-40 over a 3-way tie for second. But bear in mind, because of the wagering system, that means almost nothing. So take a look at your top 12 as we move into round 2. And the category for this entire round, again, is what, Addy?
It is Scotland rules the world. But again, as I said, it is more about Scotland in the world generally, because I am well aware that we are a tiny country of 5 million, which isn't even fully independent. So this is about Scottish influence around the world.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely reads that way. So let's get her started. Again, when you submit your wager at the end of this question, it is going to apply for the next 10 questions, which are all in the category of Scotland rules the world. Fool me once, I suppose. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on us. Question 1 in the round is coming through. And the category is tri-bond.
Yep, this is just a simple tri-bond. What word can mean a chocolate baked good, a young Girl Scout, or a spirit from Scottish folklore?
I think I would have picked this one up fairly easily, personally speaking, but I'll be honest, that third connection, the Scottish one, is the one that I would be least confident in of these 3, for sure.
I am fully not expecting people to know this one on the basis of that ahead of the other 2.
Now, that said, I'm a bit of a fantasy nerd, a D&D nerd, and this is a name that comes up in those contexts plenty. So, yeah, fair game for sure. In fact, I would, as a professional host, I love a tri-bond, but I feel like any 2 of these would make a fair game question, and the third is just icing on the cake, as it were.
Yeah.
Allie, our friend Alex, says, I've read a lot of novels with those last clues. Fair enough there. More of a high fantasy gnomon, yeah. But I believe these characters appear in, like, the D&D Monster Manual.
They probably do. They come up a lot in various fantasy settings. They're usually quite benign. They can be mischievous, but they're not sort of kobold-type mischievous.
Right. With that said, we have 26 answers in, Addy, and you might want to get that can of Iron Brew, sir, because for the first time tonight, we have a social. Folks, raise your glasses, one and all, in honor of the Scottish folklore spirits and people who try to sell you cookies. There.
It is a brownie. Chocolate baked goods, the people who sell you them, or a spirit from Scottish folklore.
Yeah, it reminds me of a tri-bond I wrote years ago that combined a computer game graphic object and I'm trying to remember what the other 2 connections were, in a folklore fairy and a carbonated beverage. And all 3 are known by the name or word Sprite.
Yeah.
So it's reminiscent of that for me, just for that reason, because of the folklore connection. Number 2 coming at you is in the category, I will let you say it.
Yep, this category actually is slightly orphaned because I changed the category name in the previous question. This category is Geography 2, Electric Boogaloo, which doesn't apply anymore because the original category for the quiz question earlier, question 7 in round 1, was Geography before I realised that there was no way to really make that question gettable. So, but this is nonetheless the second Geography question in the quiz. Dunedin, known as the Edinburgh of the South, is approximately the 6th most populated city of which Southern Hemisphere country?
Sorry, I was having a little bit of a chatter, or a natter, I've heard, courtesy of Tipster. That's going to add into my lexicon nowadays. I was having a bit of a natter in the chat with Carmela, who was pointing out that we have an ample number of Trivial Warfare references in this game, and fair enough.
That wasn't specifically deliberate. It's just that I do love the Trivial Warfare family, the Oaks Media family group of shows. So happy to do it.
I give them money now, so maybe I should start listening to the core show again. It's been a little while. I think I'd be better at trivia if I listened. Time is unofficially up. We're going to give you about 5 more seconds to submit because I'm waiting for 1 or 2 more responses on my end. So 3, 2, and 1, and this one, about 85% of teams got. Addy, good job on this question. What country are we looking for?
Dunedin is that the Edinburgh of the South. That is in New Zealand. If you've seen the Lord of the Rings films, Aragorn is said to be one of the Dunedain, and that name I assume was made up for the films because it's taken straight from Dunedin from New Zealand, where Peter Jackson's from and where a lot of it was filmed. I say approximately 6th, in case you're wondering why that. It's because there's a city, the population, there's a city that's a part of Wellington that is sort of considered its own city and sort of not. Mm-hmm. And the populations are almost identical anyway. And frankly, populations are unreliable anyway. So
what you're saying is trivia questions about geographical populations are intrinsically finicky waters, and it's really hard to get the wording right, and maybe cut us some slack occasionally.
Exactly. But it nonetheless is in that sort of top 10 cities in New Zealand.
Question number 3 in the category of sports ball. And again, we have about a 10-second delay, so sorry about that, but carry on.
The 1951 shot heard around the world was a home run for which Scottish New York Giants third baseman, known as the Staten Island Scot?
See, I know the answer to this question. I never knew that the answer to this question was Scottish. Now, I suppose the question becomes, and I don't feel free to talk about this after the fact because the question is obviously live now, but the question to me becomes, is this person Scottish in the sense that they were born in Scotland or were a Scottish citizen, or are they of Scottish ancestry and are a U.S. native? That is just where my head goes as I wait 25 seconds.
I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Oh,
Actually, I can't remember. And it looks like Murphy's is whispering you something.
Yep, and while that happens, I'm going to look up a thing real quick because I asked a question I don't know the answer to, and I hate doing that. Born.
Oh, he was born.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, yeah, of course, he would have done, yes, because I got this, because I came up with this question by Googling Scottish-born MLB players. and then discovered this thing.
Yeah, well, rightly so there. I'm going to double check because some spellings were slightly different. I'm not going to ding you for spelling. I imagine that Addy tends to agree. This is an easy spelling to get wrong, frankly.
I would accept, I would accept there was alternate spellings for this one. I would accept. It's a complicated thing because of that surname specifically.
Yeah, and with that said, about 60% of teams got it right. So, the Staten Island Scot, was
Bobby Thompson. And I have an extra connection to this question in the sense that Thompson is where my own Scottish heritage comes from.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
I am from Clan Thompson, although in saying that, what that actually means is questionable because there are lots of Clan Thompsons. And it's a fairly disparate thing. So, but yes, I have family who I'm not going to say which family, of course, 'cause I'm not going to give away security questions, but I have family who have the surname Thompson.
Ah, very nice.
And I have Scottish family from that, so.
All right, question 4 coming through. And the category for this one, I'll let you have the privilege.
Is CanCon. This is straight up CanCon. Nova Scotia in Canada is home to the largest number of speakers of which language, outside that language's country of origin?
All right, I'm going to just real quick ask Addy another question here.
Yep.
All right, we've got our bases covered. 35 seconds on the timer. 8 answers in so far. Still, oh, and a whisper has come in. I'm just going to respond to this whisper very clackety right now, so feel free to say and do whatever you like. Laser Girl appreciates the CanCon, by the way. That is our friend who is part of the IQ 2000 trivia community in Vancouver.
I thought there might be a couple of Canadians in tonight who would appreciate that. I managed to write a question which was pure straight up American sports, and I've written a straight up CanCon question. So I was glad I could do that because I know very, very little about American sports. So.
Yeah, there's not much to know. We do basketball and we do football wrong. That's about it. Or hand egg, I'm sorry. I think I might have misspoken there.
Kaberi, yes, you can join in answering the questions. The information for that should be in the chat.
Yep, thank you so much, Katie, for that. As I end the question, I'm going to double check real quick since I had to manually grade most of these, and I thought I addressed that during setup, but what are you going to do? About half our teams, maybe a little more, got this right. Answer coming through now. And yeah, no, the answer's live. When I tell you the answer's coming through, feel free to reveal it. So that way we avoid the delay.
Yeah. Just Brian, I will say that there are no DTQs in this quiz, to my knowledge. There aren't any douchey straight questions. The answer to this one is Gaelic. Scottish not being required. It is, yes, essentially the Scottish native language of Gaelic.
Now, an interesting question has come up in chat. Would we accept Erse, according to El Guapo, E-R-S-E? It looks as though they are synonymous, so at a quick glance, I am inclined.
E-R-S-E.
But you are the final arbiter here.
Yes, I would. Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would accept that. That is. It's a bit of an archaic name for it, but it is a name for Scottish Gaelic. So yeah, that's fine.
I have definitely gone through and retroactively given credit to that question. What do you mean, to your knowledge?
Yeah,
you wrote it.
I think it's more commonly used for Irish, but it has been historically named for Scottish Gaelic. So yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Because that doesn't mean, Bass Ackwards, that Addy is an encyclopedic source on all things ancient names for language, essentially. Question number 5 in the category that came in interestingly phrased because of the font situation, but it should read, breakfast.
Yep. In 1893, Scott Allen McMasters made breakfast better forever by inventing the first version of what everyday kitchen appliance?
I apologize, Bass Ackwards. I misunderstood your question in chat. You were commenting on whether or not there is definitively a douchey trick question. My understanding of what you said, Addy, is, well, I didn't intend for there to be one. If there's accidentally one, I also am not explicitly ruling out the plausibility. But I assume you did not write one by design, correct?
I did not write one by design, and off the top of my head, I can't see one in the list of questions.
I didn't see one either, because I feel like when I looked him over, I would have commented and said, hey, a man after my own heart.
I definitely considered it, but I'm fairly sure I decided against it. So, no, you shouldn't be any DCQs.
But yeah, if, for instance, an answer happens to be like the word and you happen to have the word and in the phrasing, that is, strictly speaking, technically a douchey trick question, and I don't want people to, answer wrongly because we have explicitly said a thing. So, officially, none by design.
Yep.
We'll give you 5 more seconds to submit. I'm waiting, I think, on just one more answer here in 3, 2, 1. And with 25 answers in officially, 23 teams landed it. What is that kitchen appliance, Mr. Lewis?
Kitchen breakfast appliance. It is a toaster. The first electric toaster. I mean, the concept of heating up bread has obviously existed for a long, long time. But the first thing you could properly call a toaster was invented in 1893.
I hear if you toast bread and then you stick butter on it, that is normal. But if you don't toast the bread and you stick butter on it and then you put sprinkles or jimmies or hundreds and thousands, you're weird and Australian. Is that a thing you have heard?
I couldn't call. I've never had it before. It's not something that I would personally would think I would enjoy. But if that's what you enjoy, then the Australians seem to like it. So, sure, go ahead.
I was incredibly neutral on the concept of fairy bread, and after tasting it, I am still incredibly neutral on the concept of fairy bread. Question number
Jason,
6. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Jason. But before you got Carberry looks like he's having a bit of trouble.
I did see that.
managing.
Hopefully, Arrow Angel can get on that. Yeah, I can do my best to help, but it's kind of a difficult situation in as much as I can't see what's going on the screen. With that said, let's pause a second and read this. Thank you for pointing it out. I'm in on the app, but I can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. Every time I click on questions, you shouldn't click on questions. If you're in the main window, essentially, of Triv now, the questions will get pushed to you automatically. If you're in that questions tab in the hamburger menu, it means you're looking at the past and then the categories for future questions, which means it's overwriting the view and the answer box, essentially. So make sure you're in what is, by default, the main view, and then everything should kind of work automatically. With that said, hopefully that resolves the issue. It took a second to think about it, but question 6's category is appropriately named towns.
Yep. The Scottish town of Dull is twinned with what town in Clackamas County, Oregon?
Answers are surprisingly starting to come in pretty early on this. People are confident with their either knowledge or their best guesses.
This is a question that I rewrote several times before I chanced upon this version of it.
I think it looks pretty fine, frankly.
Yeah, this is the one I should have gone with all along.
It very well might have been Bass Ackwards. Yes, freebies are enabled in this game, Arrow Angel. Every team should have 3.
Yep, you have your free. You have free freebies.
Taking a look to see if I can, using my version of the Triv Now host app or the player app, see if I can kind of shine more light. You are not allowed to view prior after you submit your answer. Kabaric, the best advice I have is to get out of that hamburger menu. The main window should do it kind of automatically for you. But with 27 answers in, let me see if I got an answer from you on this. I did not. Huh.
Oh, someone who lives just a few miles from that town. So.
Yeah, no, we do have a middling fan base from the Pacific Northwest, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Closing this one out in the interest of time, about 20 teams got it right. It is at least what you think it might be, given a best guess. And what is the twin town of Dull, Scotland?
It is Boring. Once the people of Dull found out about a town called Boring, they spent months trying to get it to be twin. And if memory serves, the people of Boring just didn't really see what the point of it was.
Okay.
But the Scots were insistent on it and eventually got them to agree for no reason, just the sheer heck of it.
Matt J. Puzzle Guy, our friend, is currently staring at a coaster from the Boring Brewing Company.
I can imagine they probably had there's some fun there to be had.
All right, question 7 coming through. I'm going to do a thing real quick because it is a slightly distinct type of question from everything else.
Yep.
And as such, I am going to prepare for it. It is a multimedia question. You guys will see the picture in the app itself, but notoriously, the public display tends to cut it off. You'll only see it when a question is live. Kabaric, a question is not currently live, so just hang in that window for just a moment as I am pushing the question now, which is a picture question in the category Tourists Are Fun to Mess With.
Yep. This is a picture. Hopefully you can see the picture. This is a picture of what fictitious animal said to roam the Scottish Highlands and be delicious when cooked. The dish is actually made from sheep and is disgusting.
So now that you've read the question, we'll put that whole interesting picture up on screen. And again, fortunately, the TrivNow app has the question or the picture natively pushed to everybody's device. Historically, though, when I embed it in the like TV view, it tends to format everything in a very specific resolution, and it tends to cut the tops and bottoms off. So just easier to open it up in like Windows Picture Viewer. I am amazed at the concept of that being a thing. I want you to know that.
I think that the concept of this being a thing is based on people believing that it was a thing. I don't think this was come up with first. But I'm quite certain that the concept fit the misconception that it was real.
Okay, I'm getting, interestingly, I'm getting feedback that the question, or the picture, I should say, isn't showing up in the app. That's interesting. I thought I had set that up correctly. If I didn't, I'm very sorry for that, but it is up on screen, fortunately, and we'll leave it up for a few seconds. I am potentially waiting for one more. I'm also going to double check a thing with our guest host real quick.
Absolutely.
All right, we come back in on microphone. Yep, we see, several people pointing out that apparently I did something wrong during setup. I swore I went in and specifically set this question to be a picture question. I'm not sure what happened. I apologize for that. But in any event, you've been staring at it for a minute and a half. Let's get it off the dang screen and reveal the answer on this.
And also, this is the only picture question in this quiz, so that's not an issue that's going to come up again. Fitting the misconception of tourists that it is actually a real thing when it's really made from sheep, that is haggis. So there's a common joke. That picture is of the wild haggis exhibit in the Kelvin Grove Museum in Glasgow, Scotland's biggest city. It's been a thing that the tourists have mistaken the haggis for a real animal for many years, and so kind of a whole fictitious mythos has been built up around it. A bit less violent than the Australian drop bear myth.
More delicious than drop bears. That should be your team name next time you play any of our OzCon centric quizzes.
I'm not sure. I can't stand haggis, so drop bear possibly would be tastier.
I think I figured out for what it's worth that I added the picture to the question and then probably just didn't hit save. It happens.
That is so haggis is the answer to that question.
Yep. Question 18 in the category of more different sports ball.
That one too, more different sports ball itself is a reference to Homestar Runner.
Okay.
An S and a more different S. Nicole will love that one, I'm sure. Andy Murray is the only tennis player to have won 2 of what specific prize as a singles player? It is almost the only prize in the sport that Roger Federer has never won. And I am looking for a specific answer on this one. I'd say so, yeah. That's correct.
In case you're wondering what Addy was responding to, it was me who you couldn't hear. So don't be confused by that.
Sorry, yeah.
You're seeing the magic of co-streaming.
I'm seeing this. I'm watching the stream, but I'm actually listening to Jason via a Zoom.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So.
Murphy, I'm so sorry to hear about the headache. I had one earlier today, so best of luck with that. I recommend, for what it's worth, a heating pad and place it over your eyes as long as it's not too hot. Definitely do that. That helps me with some semi-chronic headaches that I have. So time is officially up. I'm just going to double check the answers I did not automatically accept and make sure I didn't miss any through the hustle here. We'll give you guys about 5 seconds of grace. 4, 3, 2, 1, and I have hit close. Yeah, about 2/3 of teams got this. Fortunately, every correct answer included the key word here, so I didn't have to push any out for clarification. The key word in this one, I guess, would be a metallic element.
Yep. The keyword would be gold medal. It is an Olympic gold medal. Andy Murray won the Olympic gold in the singles in 2012 and 2016. Rafa Nadal and Novak Djokovic, I believe, have also won it. Roger Federer never has.
No kidding.
He is a strong candidate for the greatest tennis player of all time. He's won 20 Grand Slams.
Got a bit.
He has never won the Olympic singles. And because of the postponement of this year's games, there's a good chance that might be his last chance gone.
So we definitely accepted gold medal because we understood that was likely the Olympic gold medal you're referring to. We would not have accepted just Olympic medal. You would have been prompted for clarification.
Hey, Jason.
Because Andy is specifically the only one to have won 2 gold in singles. Other people might have won multiple silvers and bronzes.
All right, pushing through question 9 in the Scottish round. The category not a real king.
And the question is, which African despot styled himself King of Scotland? Forrest Whitaker won an Oscar for his 2006 portrayal of him.
Real quick, just thank you so much to Katie Kegler and El Guapo. You guys have kicked off a hype train here in chat, which is always greatly appreciated. We do our darndest, Addy, to try to keep me on Twitch because I like you and I like doing this. So we have a little goal in the upper right-hand corner that kind of shows you in real time how close we are to that financial aspect of these things. Our games are never going to cost you a cent to play, but they are always they are specifically financed by your generosity, and your generosity is always incredibly appreciated. So along with Vina Veritas, thank you so much for your continued financial support here. Jason Kuhn's throwing in a couple hundred bits into the hat as well. I'm going to get back to my job here real quick of grading answers with 10 seconds to go. I believe everyone is pretty much in, but just in case, we'll run out the timer. In 3, 2, 1. And now, Addy, you can hear in real time just exactly how much delay we have, unfortunately, on the Twitch side of your end. As I'm sure that the screen said about 15 when I called last answers.
Probably.
Yeah. But I think we got everybody. We're going to get 28 answers in. 25 were right.
This is Idi Amin. Called himself the last king of Scotland.
Didn't he have like a... I'm either confusing Idi Amin with another despot, or Idi Amin gave himself an even longer, even more ridiculous stylized title at some point. Is that correct?
That was probably Idi Amin. Idi Amin gave himself every title under the sun. He loved bestowing honors upon himself.
Here it is, and I'm going to throw it in chat because it's going to take far too long to say. I just pulled it up. Oh, you know what BD just did. So I'll allow that through. His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal Al-Haji Dr. Idi Amin Dada, VC, DSO, MC, CBE, Lord of all the beasts of the earth and fishes of the seas, and conqueror of the British Empire in Africa in general, and Uganda in particular. Goodness, the ego on that man.
And that is somewhere in the region of half as long as Queen Elizabeth II's actual full title. If you look that up, it is a novel of a title.
And it's still about a third the length, I think, of Daenerys Targaryen's title in the books. Question 20 to end the round is in the category, why Scotland doesn't actually rule the world.
This was always going to be the last question in this round. This is why Scotland actually doesn't rule the world. Because Scotland nearly went bankrupt in 1698 with the Darien Scheme, a failed attempt to form a colony in what is now which Central American country? As a hint, there is no connection between its currency and Rocky.
Oh, that is such a good hint because it doesn't give away a whole lot. I like that. Interestingly enough, every time I see the word Darien, and it pops up in trivia from time to time, I can't help but think of a community about 25 minutes northeast of me here in the Chicago suburbs that happens to be named Darien.
People were literally... This was such a big failure that people were literally executed because of it. They basically scapegoated a couple of guys and hanged them. Out of shame and embarrassment, really.
Oof, yeah, that sounds similar to something I learned on Extra History a couple of years ago that almost bankrupted the Bank of England. There was a similar kind of Ponzi-esque scheme.
It is not a coincidence that this happened about 10 years before the Union, before Scotland formally joined with England, with England and Wales.
Aha, okay. We'll give you guys about 5 more seconds to hit submit, by the way. 24 answers in.
Because Scotland was literally lost so much power because of this.
And there's a Darien in Wisconsin that's an hour southeast of our friend Kegler. That is good to know as well. I wonder if there's any connection in the name or if it's just coincidental. In any event, I closed it down. 19 answers of the 25 we got in for correct for my third favorite Van Halen song, Addy.
Which is Panama. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Solano Lopez says the app crashed for us, Gregorian Chance. Let me double check to see if I was able to get an answer in from you before it crashed. In any event, go ahead and restart the app. I'll send an error message to the developer in any event.
Hey, Jason, you got
and just for anyone who isn't totally sure, the currency of Panama is the Balboa, which is where the ink comes in from.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I get an answer in from Gregorian Chance, unfortunately. Sad to say there's not a lot I can do when a technical issue like that happens in MySpace, but definitely take the time right now and restart the app. As we show you the leaderboard after round 2, we will be taking a 5-minute halftime break midway through this round. Keep that in mind. But so far, Too Many People is up by too many points. Well, just 2 points, I should say, over No Better Social Distancing in the Eastern Time Zone. Crake Section 8 and Solo rounding out the top 4 with Sleepy Sheep in 5th at 56. As we get ready in just a moment for our third of 5 rounds today, and that category coming through on this block of questions, Addy?
It is Broken Buzzer, but unlike most Broken Buzzer, this is not exclusively music.
Mm-hmm. In fact, let me just give you an official count here real quick since I can stare at these. Definitely 1, arguably 2.
Yep.
Depending on how you define the trivia category of music, definitely 1, and probably a second, although it's probably more of a different category.
Now, watch me have to be very careful in reading these.
Yes. In fact, I wouldn't even bother throwing the letters in verbosely because they'll be on screen and in the app, and I'd hate for some kind of misstatement.
I'm not going to read out the letters in case I misread them. I will read out the questions though.
Fair enough. Give me a second. I'm going to check on one thing here. And then we will be ready. Again, we'll do 5 of these and then take a 5-minute break, in which case you can ask Addy, the original and only Quizzing Ronin, anything you want. Just remember, he's shy, so be nice to him.
I genuinely am.
I know. I love it. Because I'm literally the opposite of that. So first one coming through now is named category-wise. You are now humming the theme music.
Yep, and your question is, when I see it on the screen, what 60s and 70s TV show does this classic phrase come from? Looking for the name of the TV show. And yes, Carmela, Addy plus music equals fail, which was that being in the title of one of my episodes of Complete the List, a quote from me during the episode.
Addy, I would love to play on a pub quiz team with you at some point.
I would love that too.
But that would imply that I have an opportunity to, play a pub quiz. Actually, certain afternoons, certain UK time zone quiz shows actually work out for me. Specifically, a fellow member of the Trivia Writers Co-op, our friend Dan, who does Dan's Quiz, which I very recently learned is not Quizzy Dan. Very different people, both based in the UK, both on Twitch, do very different things. My Dan of Dan's Quiz does a Tuesday night game, British summertime. I believe it is 8 p.m. your time. And I pop in because he could always use some emotional and financial and player support. So maybe I'll hit you up one of these nights.
Cool.
Let's see, 17 answers in, and we are starting with interesting demographic results here so far.
I'm interested to see how many people got this one right. The thought has occurred laterally of a potential sense of source of confusion with the category.
Yep. In all cases, by the way, just to clarify, we do not need the answer to fit the letters we're giving you. Those are a clue to the ask in this case, which is a 60s, 70s TV show. So don't bother giving us what the TTWSDIFS stands for, because I'll just have to go through and ask you to clarify your answer. In any event, as we close this one out, only 23 answers have made it in, and boy, I'm glad, Addy, that you made this a game with freebies, because the 3 answers that were correct were freebie, freebie, and freebie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this played a little bit like an antisocial. Do you want to tell them what the phrase stands for? Or the initialism in this case?
It stands for, this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. I hope the category didn't steer me the wrong way, because the phrase was not the theme music. The TV show is Mission Impossible. I apologize if that clue it was meant to hint that it was a show or a catchy theme tune.
Will and STL is having issues with the app on an iPad. What specific issues? Let me know. The dash I threw in because it is the phrase self-destruct is often hyphenated. It might have been an easier in, but it doesn't fit the lettering. So I stand by this question on your behalf for what it's worth, Addy. Moving through here, let me pop back to the unasked questions.
Hopefully the rest of them will play out slightly.
Yeah. I love a good question where once you see the answer, you're like, oh, yeah, I get it. New questions are loading. I can't change captaincy, and the app won't restart. Huh. I'm going to throw a quick message out to the developer real quick. Yeah, I got what you're saying, Will. Forgive me for just a moment, Addy. I'm going to get that message out. There's usually something. This app is still very actively in development. With that said, Will and STL, if it behooves you, go ahead, if at all possible, to create a new team. If you can't, I can merge the points if that becomes the case that gets you back in the game. I'm going to hold for just a moment. Or actually, you know what? Since halftime is very arbitrary and we're having a tech issue and we're going to hit it in about 3 minutes anyway, Addy, do you just want to take halftime here?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we're going to take our halftime break here, see if we can get Will and STL set up. Hopefully that'll work. But yeah, rather than go back on my word here, we'll just take our 5-minute break now. And then you guys have a taste for what's happening with the Broken Buzzer round. Hopefully this 5-minute breather kind of resets the brains.
Hopefully the others will play out a bit easier than that.
So, Addy, you are to the wolves, as it were. I'm going to say good night to my kids and wife, and we will see you back in 5 for the second half and a handful of questions of tonight's 50-question game, brought to you at now officially 3:30 in the morning by Addy, the Quizzing Ronin, Lewis. Addy, take it away.
Hey, happy to, yep. Yeah, happy to. I can respond now to chat. Thank you so much again, everyone, for coming along here. I really appreciate it. 98 people viewing the stream at the moment. Really do appreciate it. Absolutely fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'm sorry that question played out the way it did. I'm not going to give anything away in case hopefully there's 9 other questions to come in this round, which hopefully will play out slightly easier than that. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Yeah, I'm probably going to stop talking now unless I've got something to say. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I got my hair cut yesterday for the first time since February. Yeah, haircut and the beard trimmed because it was massively, massively overgrown. And I don't trust myself around sharp things. I'm horribly, horribly accident prone and tend to injure myself. I have a scar on my hand from when I washed a pipe glass and it exploded in my hand. Hot things and sharp things are dangerous around me. I can't speak to your hometown. I don't know where that is. Yeah, Carmela, I'm sure I probably do look exactly like I did last time I saw you in the before times. Yeah, as advice, never buy pint glasses from the dollar store, or in my case, Poundland. Washing it for the first time before first use, but the glass was very fragile. Yeah, any other quizzes that I think I mostly, Matt J. Puzzle Guy asking do I know any other quizzes that I like that need more forte. I think I play most of all the same ones that other people play. I play RMT Trivia on a Wednesday at that's 6 p.m. Central, which is really good. Also, Trivia Leagues games are really good. Brain Bash Trivia as well is absolutely fantastic. Orange Cat, as has been said. I tend to favour the earlier games just because I UK time, and I tend to I'm staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning most nights anyway, playing trivia. So the later ones, I mean, I'd love to be playing games like Gentleman Octopus, and there's a lot of fantastic games I don't get the chance to play, but even I have to sleep sometime. Unfortunately, oddly enough, this is actually the first quiz I've hosted live. It's the first pub quiz I've hosted live in a year and a half, and the first quiz of any kind I've hosted live since last October, and that was a big competitive one. So this is quite surreal, but it's great fun doing that, and I've so much respect for everyone, all you guys out there who are doing this multiple times a week. But it's been such great quizzes. Everyone has done such a great job in this lockdown, these trying times. We've all rallied around each other, and I'm so grateful for that, for having this community and this online trivia, and all of you people out, you lovely people out there. It's been fantastic. Coach, 3:30 in the morning, British summertime. I am not working tomorrow, so the fact that I'm basically pulling an all-nighter isn't an issue. Wow, Jeremy, yeah, that's quite harsh. Yeah, if you see numbers 1 to 9 in your paper and are spelled out in numerals, you lose 10% of your grade. That's a harsh way to grade a paper. And for what it's worth, all numbers in this round, if there's any other numbers and any other ones, would be spelled out in letters. There's no actual numerals in any of the ones in round 3. Yeah, Kego, I had pulled an all-nighter a few times in university. When I was in university, I think, when I was finishing off my dissertation, I got 8 hours sleep in 70. I basically pulled 2 straight all-nighters with 6 hours sleep somewhere in between to finish, and I wrote something like 12,000 words in those 3 days.
Hi, Addy. I missed you. You have no response. I love it.
I wasn't sure if you were. I couldn't see if you were actually visible.
Oh yeah, no, we are back. We are live. The children and wife have been successfully good nighted. If you guys are ready to come back, I know we're running just a little longer than I hope, but the second half should be a little smoother. So we'll keep a more rapid fire pace going. Let me know in chat that you're ready. Feel free to hype it up in any way you so choose. It is apparently Fez o'clock, according to Nicole, Addy. And do you have a
I
preference?
meant to actually redeem that one myself and forgot. So thank you, Nicole, for doing that. And you'll be pleased to hear that Jason is back. My random babbling has all stopped for a while.
The important thing is you
reading
have
your
a delightful Scottish way of rambling that us
Thank you.
uncultured Americans and slightly more cultured Canadians just appreciate. So, looks like everybody is ready. I can put cat ears on it, just let me know. Kabarik is getting ready to make a roaring comeback. That's the beauty of the wagering system. You could miss a whole round and you're not at a significant disadvantage. We are still in the category of broken buzzer, and again, very few of these have to do with music, so best of luck to you. In no cases will you have to decipher what the letters mean as your answer, but you'll probably have to decipher them to give your answer. So, with that said, let's push through to the second half, starting with question 2 in this round in the category Lost in Translation.
These are days of the week in French. Which day is missing? And you can answer in English or French. But I do want an actual word and not a letter. That's all I ask.
Yes, explicitly must be either the word in English or in French. A letter is not sufficient.
Hey, Jason, you got a bit.
And as El Guapo has pointed out, we have now redeemed my new hat piece, Addy, in honor of Scotland and their national animal, which is my favorite national animal of all time. The
unicorn.
pink raycon. Oh, yeah, unicorn. I was going to say rhinoceros. What are you going to do?
It is unicorn, and the reason for that is that I think it was one of a Scottish king decided he really liked them, so he put them in artwork. He put them on our coat of arms, and it
No
just
kidding.
became a thing. It was literally a king decided he liked unicorns, so he made it a thing.
Isn't that the
Because
story of
kings
all
can-
things in the United Kingdom, though? Yeah, a king decided
That's
it like
true.
500 years
Because
ago.
kings can do that sort of thing. Yeah, I like unicorns. We'll put them everywhere.
Yep, the French con seems to be playing pretty well here, Addy, with 22
Hopefully this
answers
one's-
in.
Hopefully this one's played slightly easier. Please do tell me what the get rate is on the.
Oh, I
on
absolutely
this.
will. I'm going to double check also and make sure that a certain answer has come in, because we were having that technical issue in the first half. Looks like it's set up right now, but I just want to double check real quick. And I'm having a moment where I forget the name, but as soon as I see it, as I scroll through, I will remember it. Yeah, looks like we are good to go. With 27 answers in, whoop, did the thing where it hit everything on me.
Stupid joke that Xena Librarian has put in, apparently.
Your stupid joke was hilarious, but unfortunately incorrect. About 18 teams got this for what it's worth. And the answer is
Okay.
up and through now.
The correct answer to this one is Monday or Lundi, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that properly in
goodness,
French.
no.
But Monday is the missing one.
The awful mnemonic
you
would be
can-
Monday, Lunday, Happy Days.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, Monday is the missing day of the week there.
Apparently the Spanish language for Days of the Week has this similar naming convention with their first letters, so that helped significantly in some cases.
I imagine it probably would. I originally had this written in German, but since all of them I think start with like 2 or 3 letters, it was harder to pin it down specifically without making it just Friday.
All right. Question 3 coming through is again in the category of film, and you should be seeing here in just a few seconds, Addy.
Yep. Okay. Name the horror film that this culinary quote comes from.
Yes, Quincy, who is semi-fluent in Spanish, pointing out that the Spanish word for Monday is lunes, and that makes a ton of sense now in context. I wouldn't have picked that up from the French, but I definitely pick it up from the Spanish, as both being related to the moon in that case. Again, this is a thing where I swear I accepted a particularly formed answer, and apparently I didn't, so I'm going to go on a clicking spree here in the next 35 seconds. But you'll be happy to know that at least one team is right on this.
Glad to hear it. Because when I ran this question by you originally, you said you had no idea.
Yeah, but bear in mind that there was important information that is currently in the wording here that wasn't in the first blush.
That's true. To be fair, the version of the year that I gave you was basically just what's this quote from, and gave you a series of letters.
Yeah. So I would say that the info helped. Last chance to hit submit. Kabarik pointing out that apparently all the days of the week are named for the same astronomical bodies worldwide.
Even Bengali and Chinese and even Maori. That's really interesting. I did not know that.
All right, so closing this out with 27 answers in, and Addy, you know how many of those 27 answers were right? 26, unfortunately. It was so damned close.
Well, I'm glad, however, that this has played out basically the opposite of question one.
Right.
So
it balances.
Yep, this is The Silence of the Lambs. The line is, the culinary quote, big hint there, I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Question 4 coming through is in legendary video games.
And I hope this isn't going to play too difficult. What classic video game is this from? Franchise or game name are fine. They're both the same.
Yep, and as a setter's note here, that hyphen in there is, I believe, to be part of the original quote. So I put it in there just so that you can parse through the lettering in a sensible way. We have that issue with the first question, so I just want to clarify that. But answers are starting to trickle in with 35 seconds to go.
I'm going to be very interested to see how this one plays.
Agreed. And I'm looking at how it's playing currently. What I am noticing so far is most teams are taking their time to think it through before they hit submit.
I thought that might be the case on this one.
Never a bad thing. And I feel like, again, this is one of those that when you see the answer and you look back, you're going to go, they didn't get it right, how did I miss this kind of situation? But we'll give you guys 10 seconds of grace because I'm still waiting on about 6 answers to come through.
I am fairly sure that this is the question that inspired me to make the category clues. Because I wanted to include this question, and I thought the category just clues was how I could do it.
Yeah, with context, it helps a lot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 26 answers have made it in time, and Carmela appreciates the category clues as well, as I double check to make sure I didn't miss any out. Addy, the get rate on this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 out of 26. So, yeah, about 55, 60%.
That's good for a video games question.
What is literally the most legendary video game franchise of all time?
The Legend of Zelda. It's the line that said at the start of the first game, when Link goes into the cave to the old man to get his sword, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
My favorite things to do with that quote are when people use it in like wedding ceremonies or wedding rings or engagement rings or things of that nature. I love moments like that.
There is a college humor video, if video games had super easy mode, and it's that clip, but the old man gives him the completed Triforce instead.
Right? Oh, I love it.
Fantastic video.
All right, question 5 coming through in Broken Buzzer. The category on this one is famous paintings.
And this question is why I am not reading out the letters.
No.
Because I would get one wrong. Name the artist of this famous painting, also known as something else, also known as something else.
And I put in chat just to clarify, because there's a whole bunch of letter salad in there. We need an artist, not any of the names that are clued in there.
I am looking for the artist. This painting has 3 names. I'm looking for the artist.
And on my best day, I could maybe give you one of these names, Addy, because fine art is, if you look at my Learner League numbers, one of my worst categories.
It's one of mine as well.
Good. I'm not alone.
Oh, no. I mean, I know the artist of this painting, but...
I dare say that's like
is...
the fact I know about this particular artist.
But, I mean, I still can't tell you what the 2 longer names that are. And I will never know that.
Right. And you had to look them up and type them and make sure all the
And
letters are right.
I will read them out because I've got them written down here.
You're a sweet, sweet man in that. You guys have 5 seconds before I hit close. I think we got everybody in, though, for 3, 2, 1. And as we lock it down with 27 answers in, best guess at a glance is about 2/3 of teams got it right. Looks like 17 or 18
Nice.
teams. What the heck does that all say, Addy?
This is militia company of District 2 under the command of Franz Banning-Koch, also known as the shooting company of Franz Banning-Koch and William van Ruytenberg, better known as the Night Watch by Rembrandt. Yep, so Rembrandt is the answer we're looking for there. Hopefully the fact that it's a really long painting name that has a much shorter name would hopefully clue you in there.
Yeah, the TNW, I think, was the big key there. The rest of it was just obfuscation to me. But, yeah, one of the best-known paintings of the post-Renaissance era, Rembrandt's The Night Watch, for sure.
Also, however, I think just asking TNW in itself is going to be too obscure, because there's probably lots of paintings that have that combination of initials.
Yeah,
Whereas the longer names pin it better.
Absolutely. And as we've learned over the last several months, Addy, pinning is key. I love and hate you for this next question at the same time. You know why, but the category is named Oft-Parodied Songs.
Yep. I am looking for the Gilbert and Sullivan opera that this song comes from.
I'm sorry, the Gilbert and Sullivan what, sir?
It is, yes, it is the dreaded opera question.
On my stream, you deign to bring an opera question?
Oh, come on. You hate this question. There's a question later on that much more people are going to hate, and you know it. Because you've
Yeah,
seen these questions. But yeah, I am looking for the name of the opera. I'm interested. I don't actually know. Would you have known this one?
Oh, I think I would have, yes. I am putting a chat window over your stream. I'm so sorry. I forget that because we're in Zoom and not Skype, that I have a quarter of my screen dedicated to you. I thank you so much for
thank you
bringing that up. It's literally just the behind the scenes that I use to communicate with the developer of Triv now. So it's not like you got any secret information. If anything, you guys basically saw what the email address is to send tech support notes. Thank you so
Brian,
much for catching me out on that. My bad.
Not only Broken Buzzer that can come up with opera questions.
Yeah, Learned League does plenty, and I hate him for it. 29 answers made it in, and again, it's one of those situations where I swore I put in answer variants. Something happened on the import, I guess, because my answer variants all went weird. Specifically, The Legend of Zelda was accepted as an answer variant. So was Zelda, but Legend of Zelda, which I promise you I typed in, didn't. So let me get through, because people like to leave leading articles off.
Because I basically said accept anything that pertains to Zelda.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't being picky on the.
Oh goodness,
on that
no.
one,
And we're never gonna ding you on the something unless it's super relevant. In any
I've
event,
even,
most people know some Gilbert and Sullivan operas. 20 or so of them know this Gilbert and Sullivan opera, which is.
I am the very model of a modern major general. And that, knowing the song is one thing. Knowing the opera possibly slightly harder, it is the Pirates of Penzance. I wouldn't be so... I mean, I tend to get this one and HMS Pinafore mixed up quite often.
We also had the Mikado come in, which stands to reason, considering those are
That's the other...
potentially
really
the 3
famous.
best-known Gilbert and Sullivan works. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Get to that next question in a second. I have
what?
to check a thing. Oh, apparently I missed one answer that came in at the very, very end of the previous question. It has been given credit, though. As we show you, one of my favorites in this round, because if you know anything about my Learned League get rate, this is my best category. And according to Addy, the category is no one said there would be no maths.
Yep. Give the next number in this mathematical sequence. So all the letters here stand for numbers. I am looking for the next. I'm not looking for letters as the answer. I'm looking you to give a numerical answer.
And also, very clearly, not looking for any identifying information about the sequence. We need a number as an answer.
Yep. Yep. I'm not looking for the name of the sequence or anything like that.
And Debo, along with most of my local community, have opinions about my math questions, and they are, quote, fuck Jay's math.
I'm getting very interested to see. Please tell me the get rate on this one. I'm interested to see.
I will, absolutely.
I am really curious as to this one, because this one was. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything.
Mm-hmm. I do that all the dang time. I have multiple times forgotten that I wrote a follow-up question to the question that's currently live, and as I reveal the answer, I'll just go into chatter about, yeah, he was just one of the 3 people who blah, blah, blah. The other 2 are X and X, and then I hit the button for the next question, and it asks, name the 2 other people, and I have to hate myself so very deeply for it. You guys have about 10 seconds because I am a benevolent trivia daddy.
That exact thing happened in a couple of weeks ago in an online trivia league I do, in which the way the questions work is the questions are always written as pairs. So in the first half of the quiz, so basically each side will get 1 question from each pair. And in discussion, sort of this random discussion of one of the questions after it came up, we outright said what the question was for the other question in that pair. And which meant that when the second half came round, we got it instantly because the other team had literally given us the answer. In discussing the previous part of the question.
Double checking here, and I think, somebody pointed out incorrectly that final O. No,
that's intentional.
Is it?
Because is intentional.
Oh, I see what it is now. Okay.
The last O is intentional.
Yeah, that's on me, the setter, because I was the one who deigned to add dashes and punctuation, and I straight up missed this one. Now, that said, I feel like there is more than enough information otherwise to pin this down. So, Addy, if you're content with going as is, I am content as well.
Yeah, that one
I apologize. I should have put the hyphen in. I missed it. I will take a penalty shot. You can hate me for it. And you can't hate Addy, so don't even bother. I will not have that in the chat tonight, guys.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. It's not seen as the best of questions.
But answer is public now.
Yep, the sequence is the Fibonacci sequence, so it's 1, 1. So it's each number. So it's each number is the sum of the 2 preceding numbers. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and 21. The next one is 34. So so 34 is the answer we're looking for there.
Yep, I see.
What was the get rate on that one?
I'm going to go back and take a look. Requests to accept 55 with the understanding that they counted the number of words in that sequence, the typo there being problematic, to a certain level. I'll defer to you on that real quick.
I can't do maths in my head, so I'll let you judge on that one.
Fair enough. The following number in the sequence would be 55.
That being the case, yes. If the typo caused
it clearly shows knowledge.
Then I would say yes. I would say accept it. Yeah.
But as I look at the other answers, none of the other answers are numbers in the Fibonacci sequence, so
yeah.
I think that's the ruling that we're going to make on that one.
If the number, I would say that's okay.
So if you gave a number that was in the Fibonacci sequence, which in this case was 55 exclusively, I have gone back and given credit on that. You have my sincere apologies as we move on to another one in Broken Buzzer, the category being advertising slogans.
What financial product is associated with this advertising slogan?
That's not a slogan. That's just a series of letters with a period in the middle, Addy. What do you expect from us?
And yes, that is a period after the B.
Yep. The absence of a following punctuation mark is simply because none of the other ones have following punctuation marks. I believe in this case they are synonymous, but I can double check that. Yeah, let's assume that they are synonymous. If you give us the product or the company it's associated with, they are literally identical.
Yeah, product or specific company's fine.
Yeah. Hey, for the first time, I hit the request clarification button, Addy.
Oh, nice.
So specifically, just in case you don't have the clarification update, William Wallace and Gromit, you should have something in the app that's asking you to refine your answer. If you can in the app, great. If you can't, whisper a more specific answer to me, if you could, please. Carmela pointing out that, yeah, this says feet.
That is a coincidence. I did not do that as a favor to Jason.
Aw, would have been cooler if you did.
I should have just pretended that's what I did.
William Wallace and Gromit, I see that a clarification was dealt with, but I don't see a different answer. So if you could have somebody whisper me, just in case a more specific answer. I'm going to close this question out in the interest of time. I do need a more specific answer in this case than the one that you gave. And again, that is to William Wallace and Gromit, that team. And I'm going to stick my name here in chat real quick. Apparently it didn't go through. Fair enough. I did not get a confirmation. I just see that the clarification prompt kind of went away. So click my name. It should give you an option to whisper, and just whisper me the more specific answer, and that should be sufficient. The clarification feature is less than a week old, I think, Addy, so we're still potentially finding some kinks in it. Yeah. Grumblebird, I see it. Okay. Yeah, I see your answer, and that's sufficient for credit. All right, 27 answers made it in. It looks like about 16 got them, something like that.
Okay. The slogan is, there are some things money... Yep, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
MasterCard, the financial product in question there.
Yep.
All right, 2 to go in Broken Buzzer. The next one is in the category of famous quotes.
Yeah. Name the sports legend who said this in 1974.
I will point out that there might be additional punctuation that I don't think affects your ability to parse these letters that are not included. I did put that that dash in, though, because I feel like that was an important one. I tried to keep
separate.
Yeah. Since Addy wrote this quiz, I definitely didn't want to do too much editing of his original work.
Yeah, when I sent this round to Jason originally, I didn't have the punctuation in and decided laterally, like after the fact, to put it in. Or rather, Jason put it on my behalf.
I do appreciate, though, as Chad is pointing out, that the first half is an acronym for Flab Slab.
Also not intentional.
But hilarious, and I love it. 15 seconds to go on this one.
You like these, but you're working your brain real hard. Yeah, that's fair to say. And I know that Broken Buzzer rounds are traditionally have been music. I try to be a bit of, I'm quite avant-garde in my quiz rounds. I tend to do quite experimental rounds. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Oh, I straight up love this round. And generally, I will be honest with you, this is the 4th attempt outside of Broken Buzzer that I know where somebody has attempted to make a whole round out of these. The first 3 rounds were terrible. This one's going pretty well. By any metric. This is pretty successful. 29 answers in, 25 are right.
Oh, nice.
As the answer is pushing through now.
The quote is, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, his hands can't hit what his eyes can't see. That is the man, the legend, that is Muhammad Ali.
And in case you're wondering about the alternate accepted answer that we thought might come in, nobody put Cassius Clay, so we didn't have to even deal with that being niggling semantic point.
Because his name, by his own request, was Muhammad Ali only, as far as I'm concerned.
At that point, yeah.
Retroactively, that's his name.
But I also know trivia people like to show off knowledge and go, well, he was born Cassius Clay and he competed under that name, so I'm going to put it because I'm a smart duck. Question 10 to end the round is officially categorized as earworms.
There was an opera question. This is a proper music question. Name the artist behind this legendary song.
And also, not that you did it intentionally, Addy, but I do feel personally attacked by the very relatable content that was the last question saying flab slab.
Oh, so do I. I absolutely do.
But as a general reminder, Addy, and the internet has taught me this, dad bods are in right now.
I'm the only one of my numerous brothers and cousins who does not have kids. Actually, I'm the single one at the family gatherings.
Oh, okay.
I've become that person.
I made the beautiful, we'll call it a decision, to have kids relatively early in. My son, actually, about 26 hours from now, will be turning 14. And he's getting to that point where he's a 14-year-old teenage boy, and he is just difficult to be around sometimes. I do appreciate the team that put my name as an answer. It will not earn you any points, other than in my heart. But for the rest of you, 10 seconds before we close this down and put an end to the broken buzzer round du jour. So 5, 4. Lexi, I saw the typo. You're fine. 3, 2, 1. This one, I feel, played surprisingly tough in terms of the number of answers that came in. 24 got in, 25 now as one plugged in right before I hit the button. And of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 12 were correct, which means for those of us who know you personally, you have trolled us again, sir.
Because my name is Addy, and I am a troll, and I live in 2008, apparently, because I have just rickrolled the Liquid Courage quiz. It is, we're no strangers to love, you know the rules, and so do I. Rick Astley's never going to give you up.
Brian pointing out, well played, sir, and I agree wholeheartedly. After 3, I'm going to flash the leaderboard real quick. I do want to try to save a little time here. I'd love to... how is... That is not a douchey trick question in this case.
It's a douchey trick question, and it's a question written by a douche for the sake of being a douche. Yeah, but it's not a DTQ as such.
Yeah, but that's kind of just me speak for not every question that is a trick question is a douchey trick question only because I am a douche.
That's true.
Douchey question for sure. But that's just in the best possible way, Addy. We love you for
Good night, Alex. Thank you for coming along. Really appreciate it.
No better social distancing with an 8-point lead at the flop here. Too many people currently in second at 78, ahead of Solo and Gregorian Chance the Rapper, tied for third at 76. Let's push through to round 4. Again, in the interest of time, I know these spotlight streams, because we have such a conversational tone, tend to run longer than normal streams, and I'm super okay with it, but I also recognize that it is now 4 in the morning your time. So with that said, the category for round 4 is a personal favorite of mine, before and after. Addy, do you want to talk us through how those work in case somehow people do not get the gist from the name alone?
In case you came in later, haven't seen these before, it's going to be pairs of clues. You're looking for 2 answers, and the last few letters of the first answer are the first few letters of the second answer.
So yeah, picture a Venn diagram, and the center space is going to share a couple letters in common. There are a couple cases... Example of...
Go ahead, I'm sorry. So to give an example of one that I got wrong on national TV, if you're looking for a word that comes after bed and before sheet, it would be spread. So the answer would be bed spreadsheet.
Okay.
It overlaps in that way.
That feels like a game show that we had in the US for a while called Chain Reaction, yeah.
That was a case of you were given the 2 words on either side, and that's to put in the one in the middle. But the answers will run into each other that way.
All right, we're losing Cam as well, unfortunately, due to the time. Yeah. But that's okay. We love you, Cam. We'll see you, I'm sure, the rest of the week in the Broken Buzzer stream. In a couple cases, full names are required. by setter's discretionary rules. They will be clearly marked as such in the prompts. So we'll begin with number 1, at least he has chicken.
The 10th president of the USA turned legendary World of Warcraft character who charged into battle shouting his own name in 2005. And I need full names required. So I need a first and last name for the president and the World of Warcraft character.
We actually went back and forth earlier today a little bit over this because in some cases you could argue that, just having one part of the name still makes it a before and after. But rather than nitpick between cases of those, we decided that in all cases where a proper name is part of one, we're going to require the full name, but we're also going to clearly inform you that full name is required in any of those cases.
I also think there's only about 3, I think, that actually applies to anyway. And good night, Cam. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
All right. Team, I'm going to request a clarification because I feel like while your answers are correct, you misunderstand the kind of intent of a before and after round. So what's going on, just to clarify, is the last few letters of the first clue are also the first few letters of the last clue. So blend them together into one single phrase. If you've been requested a clarification, it is only because I want you to understand that is how it works. One team, since we need full names, I'm going to request a clarification from as well. So I'll wait for those to come in. The rest of you have a few seconds longer as a result. I can't close the question until those clarifications come in. And again, I probably would have accepted them because it shows knowledge, but because there's 10 of these, and this is the first one, I wanted you to kind of know how this works intrinsically, if that makes sense. And again, I have one more out just because a full name wasn't given at the time, but I think we're good now. I'm going to double check one last time and make sure we don't have any clarifications outstanding, and make sure I didn't miss any. We are good with 24 answers in. This one played pretty well. About 2/3 of the teams got it. What's the before and after, Addy?
The 10th president of the USA is John Tyler, and the World of Warcraft character is Leroy Jenkins. John Ty, Leroy Jenkins.
Yep, and that, to be clear, is how we expect answers to come in formatedly. So there were a couple that had John Tyler, Leroy Jenkins. I pushed the prompt through just because the next 9 are going to work the same way. It very well might be, but it... actually, let me double check that, because I'm not positive on that.
Fireball 85, do you want me to do John Ty, Leroy Jenkins? Like that. And to explain the category, for those who don't know, it is the guy, he was away from the computer whilst the team were discussing their strategy, and because he was making chicken, and so at the end of the clip he says, well, at least he has chicken.
Right.
And yes, I appreciate there was a typo.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I don't think it screws the ability for teams to have gotten this right, because both of those halves are pretty gettable outside of the context of a before and after. So we're going to chalk it up to an innocent human error and move on in the round here in just a second to question 2 in the category appropriate for 2020. The 1979 film adaptation of Heart of Darkness, and also a series of music compilation albums, the 74th of which was released in the USA in 2020. And yes, just to clarify in chat, Kegler Coach, these will all be before and after style in the sense that like Wheel of Fortune does them. In some cases, it'll be part of a word. In some places, it'll be a shared word in common.
And I'm looking for in this case, I am looking for the full name of the series of music compilation albums. There is a shorter name it goes by, but I need the full name for this question. And I apologize for the fact, yes, Leroy is spelt with 2 E's, so for that I do apologize.
It happens. I'm going to go mute on stream for a second because I want to run a thing by you real quick, Addy. There might have been over 100 in chat at some point. We're currently at 91, which is awesome. Fair enough. 10 seconds before I close this one down, I only have 22 answers in. I understand that this one takes a little more typing than others have. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think Drawback Caster was saying there were over 100.
Okay.
There are over 100 in the series, not in the USA. In the USA, they only got up to 74.
Yep, and fortunately, that is very well pinned down in the wording.
And our country, yeah, because I thought, I know the 100th one came out in this year in the UK, so I did specifically check the USA because obviously most people doing this.
Addy, I'm going to take a second and let chat know in on a very dirty secret in the context of streaming a pub trivia game here on a format like Twitch. When people give interesting information that seems like it goes counter to a wording of a question, the default assumption is we screwed something up. So keep that in mind. The default is defensiveness. So, I can see that there are, most likely, as Addy said, over 100 in the UK. Fortunately, question says the US had 74, and that is factual. So, yay on that.
Yeah, I do apologize if I came across as defensive there. I did not.
No, I'm defending you on behalf of me.
Oh, okay.
Because I do that all the time. It's an emotional response. I thought there was over 100? Crap, I screwed something up. Just so you guys know, that's the default. Yep. Anyway, the answer is up on screen for everybody.
The difference in this one is Apocalypse Now. That's what I call music. Apocalypse Now, that have Heart of Darkness, and now that's what I call music, is a series. The series itself is just called Now with an exclamation mark, but that doesn't work for before and after. So.
It's fully titled, at least in the US, Now. That's what I call music. Now is kind of the brand name. The albums are fully titled Now. That's what I call music. Number 3 is in the category, Do I Amuse You?
The most famous resident of Mega City 1 turned fabulous gender-fluid English comedian and marathon runner.
I knew exactly 2/3 of the information you have just given me about the back half of that. As a reminder, we are still in the category before and after, so both halves need to be included for credit here. I will say that I personally, Addy, struggled on this first half, but as soon as I saw the answer, it was a light bulb moment. But again, that's me personally, no indication of difficulty. I have weird knowledge gaps sometimes, I've noticed.
Yeah, so do I. I know, I can come up, even though my weakest category, sometimes I can know some weird random shit, which explains why I've gotten a couple of 7-3s in Learned League, which is fantastic. Man. There was a day in which there was my 3 best subjects and my 3 worst subjects came up, and I got the questions right in my 3 best, in my 3 worst subjects, and got them wrong in my 3 best.
Like I said,
I felt so bad for my opponent.
Is my best Learner League category, and nothing annoys me more than when I doof a math question, especially one that has a high get rate because I overthought the damn answer. There was a trigonometry question, I think, last season that I overthought, and I put negative cosine as the answer. And it was just cosine, and the get rate on it was like 80%. And fortunately for me, because math is my strongest category, my opponent had thrown a 0 on it, so it didn't impact me.
Understandable. What was the get rate on this question?
I am finishing it up. I'm going to go mute real quick and double check a thing. Coming back, I'm just going to check that whisper real quick that came in. That is from, okay. And yeah, I got that spelling. That wasn't an issue. I knew that was a typo. but you did have to clearly show knowledge of both halves, in which case Judge Eddie Izzard was not good enough for credit, but...
The answer is Judge Dreddy Izzard. Judge Dredd and Eddie Izzard. And honestly, I think Eddie Izzard would totally do a Judge Dredd, would do a Judge Dredd-based skit if asked. I feel like that's the sort of thing that he would do. Absolutely fantastic. I said marathon runner because 10 years ago, he ran 43 marathons in 51 days.
That is both insane and a thing I didn't know. My dear friend Emily is a huge Eddie Izzard fan. It's the only reason I'm familiar with their work. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, they are absolutely amazing.
All right, question 4 coming through is in the combined category of FranceCon. CanCon.
Yep. French revolutionary leader whose execution ended the Reign of Terror, who became the 15th Prime Minister of Canada in 1968.
And again, as a setter's note, full names are required here, which means I think I'm going to be hitting the request clarification button a few times. We did go back and forth on this one a little bit, but ultimately landed on what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and since we were requiring full names for at least one other, we had to do it for the full thing. I also feel like this first name is gettable information, so I'm not inclined to feel like it makes the question too difficult, if that makes sense. Raised from the dead, zombie PM, Grumblever says. Let's see. I'm going to privately... we do need full names for both halves. That's the clarification. Full names.
Absolutely.
We had several who did not give a particular portion of one of the names. That's what the clarification request is for. So let me see. I'm still waiting on at least 2 clarifications on that. If the clarification doesn't come to you and you did not submit a first and last name for both halves, just whisper me. And ideally stick your team name in that whisper since we have multiple moving parts on this. Apparently there is something going on with the clarification system, at least for some teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's see what we can get. Thank you for the whisper. Thank you for the team name as well. And as I come through one more time, very sorry for the delays on these. The clarification seems to be working not as well as it did before. I assume at this point that if you have not submitted in a clarification or whisper the correct first name for the first half, that's because you don't know the first name for the first half, and that's okay. Unfortunately, we do require it because we required it for other questions, and fair is fair. So, Addy, what did they need to give us for credit on this one?
This one is Maximilien Robespierre Trudeau. Maximilien Robespierre, Max is fine, and Pierre Trudeau.
Yep, we did decide in pre-show that Maximilian was requisite because John was requisite, and damn right Fax is fine, Shampoo Cells. Hey, what's going on, man? That's Max Miners, isn't it? I just figured that out, or remembered it again. Question 5 is in the category of music and art.
Yep. Hip-hop group whose founders include Joseph Simmons and a mathematically inspired Dutch artist known for drawing impossible objects.
There's no way to really answer this without giving full names, so the prompt isn't there, but there's, again, no real way to make a correct answer here that doesn't involve all the necessary facets.
Yeah.
The maxiest of maxes, chat is
Absolutely.
saying. It is always a pleasure to have you in chat here, Max. I hope you're enjoying your evening. We are fortunately, 3/4 of the way through, I think, at this point? Pretty close to that.
Yep.
And again, a lot of that was, the time during setup and halftime, so the pace should definitely be flowing a little bit better now. My goal is to have you out of here within the next half hour, and I think we will hit that mark.
Cool.
Nothing was more romantic than that, in case you're wondering, Aaron. They're talking in chat. I don't know if you picked up on it, Addy, but for Valentine's Day several years ago, Carrie Elwes, of course, Wesley from The Princess Bride, did a memoir book signing the next town over. So my wife and I got to go, and he did a Q&A session and an autograph session. He told me I had a lovely family, and it's the nicest thing a famous person has ever told me.
That's excellent. I was at Phoenix Comic Con in 2014, and we saw the panel for Carrie Elwes. His accent is quite strange because it's such a weird hybrid of US and UK.
It is. I've noticed that. Yeah.
In a sense that on the vowel sounds, he still has an English inflection. Or certain sounds. So it's American, but there's random bits of English accent in there, which is...
Yeah, I'm waiting for one clarification from Dang. The theme isn't about the show Coach. We do need both halves for credit here. So whisper me if you do not see the prompt for the clarification. Unfortunately, I can't close the question until that clarification comes in either way. And again, that is from Team, in case you don't have the version of the app that pushes it automatically. Dang, the theme isn't about the show Coach. They had a lot of fun in our... Thank you so much for getting that in. They had a lot of fun in our theme game last Saturday, where the theme wasn't the show Coach. It was... Oh, goodness. Why don't I remember what the theme was? How I Met Your Mother. There we go. 24 out of 26 on this one, Addy.
Oh, nice. The hip-hop group is Run DMC. The artist is MC Escher. To give you Run DMC Escher.
El Guapo certainly won that game on Saturday. He answered Bazinga for the first 49 questions, which is, of course, from The Big Bang Theory and not How I Met Your Mother. So I attempted, cleverly, to edit behind-the-scenes question 50 to also accept Bazinga as a correct answer. And then he said that answer was legendary.
Wow.
He out-trolled the troll in me. Question 6 in this round. The category is louder, please.
An island in Massachusetts known for its hard of hearing community and the band that launched the careers of Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton.
Guapo, I may have met my match or my superior vis-a-vis trolling with you. Game, recognize, game, sir. 45 seconds on the clock for this one. Answers are starting to stream in, Addy. How you holding up, my friend? You actually don't look like it is 4:30 in the morning.
No, I am completely fine. I mean, it helps the fact that I got up at 1 this afternoon. So,
yeah, that'll help too.
The fact that I dreamt last night that I was in prison probably helped me sleep longer than usual for some reason. It was a very long, slow, especially because I'd been apparently put in solitary confinement by a guard who wouldn't tell me the reason why, and kept putting back my release for no reason. So that helped me sleep.
That's a whole thing and a half there, my friend.
Yeah, apparently it is. But hey, so I'm absolutely doing fine, and also the fact that I'm drinking caffeine after midnight, when I should never normally do that unless I'm in a pub.
Yeah, I was wondering because a lot of orange sodas in the U.S. do not inherently have caffeine. Is Iron Brew caffeinated?
Iron Brew is caffeinated. Well,
okay.
Iron Brew is caffeinated. I think is Vimto caffeinated? I'm not actually sure. Possibly not, actually. But yeah, Iron Brew definitely is.
All right, about to close this question out. I am waiting for one clarification. Oh, Sunkist has a small amount? I genuinely didn't know that. That's interesting to know. Dang, the theme isn't about the show Coach. Waiting for a clarification from you before we wrap the question up. Otherwise, 24 answers are in. Get rate looks remarkably good on this for what it's worth.
Yes, Carmela, Iron Brew is delightfully caffeinated.
All right, and apparently the lack of clarification counts as the clarification. 7/8 of our teams got it. That's what, 87.5%?
Oh, nice.
Not too bad.
Yep. The Allen, Massachusetts, known for its hard-hearing community, is Martha's Vineyard. Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton's career was launched by the Yardbirds, so it's Martha's Vineyard Birds.
And a fun fact about Eric Clapton and the Yardbirds: Eric Clapton, the only person to be thrice inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh wow!
The Yardbirds, Cream, and for his solo career. Could be 4 times if Derek and the Dominoes ever make it in. Question 7 in half of my favorite category, and the other half also my favorite category. It's science and maths.
Science and maths, fun, which is either going to be fantastic or awful. 17th century French mathematician known for his wager and his triangle, and the element with atomic number 98.
Fortunately, Lexi, I can somewhat easily tell if an answer that comes in looks like autocorrect kind of modified it. So spelling isn't really going to ding you unless it looks as though you have the straight up wrong answer in mind, if that makes sense. And in some of those cases, I do run them privately by Addy, and generally we're being more, less judicious and more generous on some of these.
Yeah, Resection 8, Mountain Dew, you do get it here. It's not really a thing. It's not known particularly. It doesn't show up in like popular culture or anything like that. It's not. Yeah, it's not big of. It's not a big deal here.
Known but not a big deal. I wonder. Do you know if it's possible to get Iron Brew outside the UK?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can get it in. There's places in the US that can get it. The import section of big supermarkets will sometimes have it.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, and there's also you can order online. I mean, Amazon sells it.
And Amazon sells everything.
Yeah, but of course Jeff Bezos is awful, so doesn't stop me shopping at Amazon. But
the same, unfortunately. 5 seconds before I close this down. 3, 2, 1. Addy, we got 23 answers in, and good news is 22 teams knew at least one half of this. One team unfortunately doofed the first name of the mathematician, and another team unfortunately doofed the element, even though it does work as a before and after.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see where that happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And they even gave the British spelling of aluminium for what it's worth. Unfortunately, that is not element 98.
No. The French mathematician is Blaise Pascal, and the element is californium 98. Blaise Pascalifornium. I mean, there's a few elements that would have worked as before and afters with Pascal's name, calcium, etc.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of calcium. That would have been a good red herring too. All right, number 8 is in category of fun for the whole family.
And this is probably my favorite question in the quiz, or one of them. A sport with no rules, played by a boy and a tiger, and a weapon that delivers a warhead on a high, arcing trajectory that falls under gravity to its target.
I will have you all know here in chat that I, during our testing, did not get this question right. Debo, thank you for the 5 Tier 1 gift subs. Eric, who is going to be our special guest host next Tuesday, is now a Tier 1 sub. So is Bone Orchard, Barris, IBB, and BB Rally. So a lot of double Bs. I would argue that at a glance, I had a good guess, but it didn't fit the exact wording. Also, how dare you shame me in my own stream, Bass Edwards? 20 seconds to go on this one.
Oh, the last quiz I hosted, the competitive one, it was 150 questions, and one of the chasers from the UK version of the Chase got about 88 out of 150. He got a question wrong that was his own name.
Oh my goodness.
There was a connections round, and the connection was Chasers, and I I had his name's Sean Wallace, and the answer to the question was Wallace Shawn.
Okay.
But he still got it wrong in testing. So,
Addy, I will have you know that at least one team has put the same answer that I had during beta testing or beta testing. Do you say beta in the UK?
Yeah, or beta. I'm not sure.
Okay. So as I wait for that clarification to come in, I'll be closing this out momentarily. Matt says, "Oh, I love Sean. He runs his own weekly quiz on Facebook." That I did not know. So the Lone Ranger, I'm waiting for a clarification because your answer only fits half of the before and after style prompt.
Yeah, Sean Wallace is fantastic. I've met a few of the chasers. In fact, I was actually quizzing one-on-one against Paul Sinna last night in a quiz called Mimir's Well. And I was quizzing against his team in an online league last week. Well, my team was playing, I was hosting, which is handy because our team was beaten 2-1. So,
right. Answers are in on this one now officially as I close it out. 25 made it in. Some people took a bunch of advantage of the extra time, but that's okay. One team gave the answer that I, at first blush, thought was right, but there's a keyword in there that makes it wrong. I thought it was Calvin Ballista, but unfortunately a ballista does not deliver a warhead. And I have to concede that this pinning gets you to where, Addy?
It is, a warhead is specifically an explosive device. So it is Calvin Ballistic Missile. Calvin Ballistic Missile. I want to include Calvin Ball somewhere in this round. I'm looking through words that started with B8, started with ball, landed on ballistic missile. Had to do it.
No, it's a great question. And again, I don't think it was badly written because I got it wrong. I think I misread the question and ignored the word warhead. And
warhead
came up with something that fits everything else.
Yeah.
But warhead. Number 9 is in the category of world geography. Or geography.
The African country whose capital is Antananarivo, I hope I've spelled that correctly, and the Eurasian country whose capital is Yerevan.
I will let you know that it looks like, and I'm going to put it in chat, I don't think it super matters.
I think I've misspelled Antananarivo.
Antananarivo looks like
Antananarivo,
correct,
yeah.
But it's one of those things where the AN in the middle is reduplicated, so easy to miss. But in case somebody, somehow that's the difference between getting it right and wrong, chat has the correct spelling, Antananarivo, or however they pronounce it in given African country.
I'm going to take a shot of Iron Brew anyway, because I need to get rid of this can.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot of Screwball, because I never let a friend drink alone.
Which reminds me, at some point I probably will regale you at some point, of my tales of my drunken student days in Glasgow. Glasgow as a student is a heck of a place.
Oh, I bet. All right, time up officially on this one. We'll give you guys about 10 more seconds because I imagine autocorrect is having just a beast of a time with these answers.
I don't doubt it. One more question this round anyway.
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 21 answers have made it in time. 20 were correct. The 21st was halfway right. It did find a before and after that worked, but not factually, because the capital of Ghana, unfortunately, is not Antananarivo. And let's release those scores now. And there you go.
Oh, the answer to this one is Madagascar, Armenia. Madagascar and Armenia.
Yep, and again, in case it ever comes up in a geography spelling bee, the correct spelling is Antananarivo, because it didn't have enough damned letters in the first place. Number 10 to finish the round is in the category, someone please make this film.
Yep, and this one is 2 1997 films. One about prisoners taking over a plane, the other about a basketball-playing dog.
I'm going to open the rum here preemptively because I have predictions on this one.
Okay.
I think if there was any question in this game that was going to be a social, it's going to be this one.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean I don't love this question, because this might be my favorite question of your set.
There's a reason why I said someone please make this film. And credit to this goes to Sean Colley, who did a thread recently about before and after films. And frankly, I looked through that thread and took one of Sean's own suggestions to include it in this round. So thank you, Sean Colley, for inspiring for this question.
The trivia salute goes to you. 24 answers in. If you're going to answer, you've got about 15 seconds. And yes, apparently the chat in the last 2 minutes, Addy, has turned into a Carmella love fest, which I am super okay with.
Absolutely.
All right.
I couldn't assume that everyone playing this game listens to Trivia Warfare for some reason.
But a decent number of them, I imagine, do. So
Well, I
with that
imagine so,
said,
yeah.
Addy, how's the brew?
It's a social, isn't it?
Oh, damn right it was a social. It was
Oh,
a
it's a
fast
social.
social. Everybody had it in 45 seconds for Con
Don't
Air
touch
Bud.
it. Con Air Bud.
That was your feel-good
Yeah.
question of the night right there, for sure.
Absolutely.
Which-
If someone wants to make that film, I will help finance it.
Oh, absolutely. With 10 questions to go, no better social distancing off to a 10-point lead over Gregorian Chance the Rapper, with Craig Section 8 rounding out the top 3 at 124. 10 questions to go. You could, in theory, be picking up 50 more points if you saved the best for last, so nothing is set in stone. As we get to our 5th and final category, which is funny and or interesting general knowledge. So we're going to end kind of the same way we started, with some general knowledge questions that have a particularly Addy-esque spin to them. Starting with question 1 in the category of ill-advised potables.
Yep, and your question is, in 1968, Swedish pentathlete Hans-Gunnar Liljenwall became the first athlete to be disqualified from the Olympic Games for drug use. What common drug did he take?
In case you're wondering, there are at least 2 different forms of this answer that we will accept, because they are equally correct and ways to phrase the answer.
And thank you very much, Matt J. Puzzle Guy. Comments from my team, consensus Addy is very likable. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, the consensus last week was that Matt J. Puzzle Guy was very likable as well. I love when my co-hosts like my co-hosts.
Oh, that's... I don't think I've met you, Matt, but yeah, you seem like a really nice guy.
Addy, I have a clarification coming into you, so I'm going to mute real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we have confirmed on the necessary confirmation there. We're waiting on about a half dozen more answers in the next 10 seconds or so.
I'm actually not even surprised that someone's given that answer.
This isn't the question that I thought somebody was going to push the old glasses up on us for, but it did happen. 3, 2, 1, and I'm closing it out now. Timer is officially up with 23 answers in time. 25 just made it in under the cut, because I always lie and push the button after the sentence because I understand how delay works. 18 people got it right with either of the apparently 3 answers we accepted on this, which are now going to screen right now. So what common drug did he take, Addy?
Well, the question is ill-advised potables because he drank alcohol. He decided to drink a beer to calm his nerves. Now, the alcohol laws or the drug laws were introduced the year before, 1967. It calmed his nerves. It helped him, obviously aided enhanced his performance. He won his team a bronze medal, which had to be returned because he was disqualified for drugs. So,
In my favorite trivial combination of alcohol and shooting things, because I'm pretty sure shooting is part of the pentathlon, is it not?
It is. Absolutely,
I thought so.
The modern pentathlon is the 5 skills that
cavalry soldiers needed to have.
That cavalry an officer should have at the turn of the 20th century.
So that's not antiquated at all. Question
Not
2 in the category of I couldn't possibly comment.
In 2012, which song from The Wizard of Oz reached number 2 in the UK charts following the death of controversial Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher?
Controversial, you say?
And I will say on this that Don't worry about getting the exact title of the song bang on correct.
I can't imagine that we're gonna have too many issues on this one.
I'm not playing, but we're more casual than it's not Jeopardy.
Merlin pointing out that they've used performance-enhancing alcohol for this quiz, which means you're in the right danged place. Cheers to alcohol, the cause of and solution to most of pub quizzing.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm the guy who spends 3 to 6 nights a week in a pub and doesn't drink alcohol.
Well, do the pubs have good fish and chips?
Some do, yeah.
All right, well, there you go. The best thing about pub trivia is it tends not to be in, at least in the U.S., in straight-up bars. Places that don't serve food, at least, like, secondarily. It's often in restaurants, pizzerias, and places that have a pretty decent food menu. So, yeah, even teetotalers can find a way to enjoy pub trivia while, financially supporting the venue and the host and all of that, which is always nice. Karaoke, a different animal, which is why I hate people who only drink water at karaoke shows, because at least you could buy me a drink. 24 answers of our 25 were right on this. It was so close to a social, but not quite.
Oh, nice. Yep, the answer to this one, when Margaret Thatcher died, a lot of people were quite happy. There were literal street parties in Scotland. I don't approve of celebrating people's deaths, but I understand why people did it. Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead is the song. Yeah. Number 2 in the UK charts.
I mean, there are a handful of historical figures that I would celebrate the deaths of, but I don't think a controversial but ultimately, at least in theory, well-intentioned prime minister belongs on that list. You may disagree with the politics, but the argument is, well, at least there's an argument that they were trying to do a good job.
There is good reason that she is hated in Scotland that I'm not going to go into now.
But yeah, that's a whole other thing. The important thing is we're talking politics on Twitch. Question 3 in the category chores I don't like.
Yep. An extreme version of which household chore has been known to take place in environments such as underwater, on a mountainside, and while the performer is parachuting?
I feel like I've actually seen a picture that indicates one of the 3 instances that you've prompted this question in. Or in this question, I should say. In fact...
As with most of extreme sports, there are videos of it on YouTube.
I feel like I have the single image in my head. There's the image. Okay, so we're going to throw that up just because, I found it. And I remembered it. Yeah, I feel like one of these has a picture that made the circuit at some point. Not to give anything away, obviously, but... 20 seconds on the clock for the 6 or so teams still looking to lock in. Rogue Clown, Nicole pointing out that extreme sports by definition is singing more than words while bowling. And you know what, Addy? As we say here and elsewhere, technically correct is the best correct.
It's the best kind of correct.
The guy who had that sash at Quiz Bowl, or Geek Bowl in March allowed me to wear it and take a picture to send to my pub quiz regulars because they're in on the joke. Anybody else hitting submit? You've got 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. 25 answers made it in, which is kind of what I expected. 18 were right. I will reveal this answer by way of an image. And there's your image, and I think the one some of us had in mind when we saw this question. Although the shark really makes it extreme.
Yep, it is extreme ironing. An extreme sport which is said to combine the thrills of an extreme outdoor activity with the satisfaction of a well-pressed shirt. There are videos of it on YouTube. It is hilarious. And hello, Cheyenne. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's going on, Cheyenne? Question number 4 coming through is in the category inventors with awesome names.
Early forms of the steam engine, vending machine, and wind-powered machines were invented in the 1st century Common Era by Hero, in which modern-day African country?
See, this brings something to mind real quick, Addy. I don't often use the abbreviation CE for Common Era in my writing. I tend to, if it needs to be pinned down to the BC era or BCE, I'll throw that in. Otherwise, the assumption is, first century is fine. I wonder, and the only reason I bring it up is, do you ever just call it CE as a presenter, or do you always transliterate that to Common Era?
It's not something I think about either way, CE or Common Era. I mean, it stands for Common Era.
Right. The important thing is we killed 35 seconds of dead air asking the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that CE is more neutral than AD.
Oh yeah, and I don't disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. I don't either use CE or AD particularly commonly in my writing, so I was wondering, since
no, never do I.
As an American who grew up Catholic, I'm more inclined to default to AD unless I'm thinking about it, and I would never call that Anno Domini. So yeah, I was just wondering if CE is a term that's often used, or if it's just you.
No, that was just the way I said it.
Okay. In any event, 19 teams got this right. What's the modern African country, Addy?
He was Hero or Heron of Alexandria, which is in Egypt. It was Roman Egypt at the time, although I think the man himself was of Greek descent. But yeah, Egypt is the... So yeah, they had steam engines and vending machines. This guy was considered one of the first cybernetics researchers.
Really?
Or his work essentially was a very, very, very early precursor to what we consider cybernetics today. Fascinating man. So far ahead of his time, it's unreal.
I'd love to talk about him more, but we do have to move on to question 5 in the round of the category all the way down.
Yep. And the question is, Turtle Island is a name used by some Indigenous and First Nations people, such as the Iroquois, or Iraqi, I'm not totally sure how to pronounce that, for what geographical area? There's 2 acceptable answers. You can give either.
Now, I don't know if it is factually correct to the First Nation, but the pronunciation I've always heard here in the Midwest is Iroquois.
Iroquois.
So if that helps in any
way. I meant to look that up and forgot.
Iroquois is at least the most common, white people version of it, for lack of a better phrasing.
Yeah.
That is to say, I have never heard a different pronunciation of that. But I will also concede that I've never heard a First Nations person tell me that pronunciation.
Fair enough.
Grando putting a phonetic pronunciation in chat, Iroquois, potentially. And yeah, in as much as that looks like it was spelled by the native or non-native French people in the area, I can understand that. Bear in mind that I live in Illinois, where we mispronounce names by definition. Did you know, for instance, and I bring this up every once in a while, speaking of the Egypt question that you had earlier, Addy, we have a city in southern Illinois spelled Cairo, and it's pronounced Cairo, because we are notoriously bad at pronouncing things the way they should be pronounced.
I've got a Canadian friend who is always bothered by Notre Dame, because that's not the French pronunciation of it at all. Yeah.
All right, 24 answers have made it in time. I am closing this out. I think a 25th just snuck in.
Okay.
And with that, about half the teams got this right. There were 2 acceptable answers here, as you pointed out, because I guess to the First Nations people, one was kind of implicitly the other at the time.
Yep, all the way down reference to Discworld, the, I believe it's turtles all the way down. That is the planet Earth, and it also refers to North America specifically. So yeah, Turtle Island is a name used for North America or the Earth as a whole.
Somebody bringing up in chat, it's Orielis, the people of Bourbonus pronounce it that way. We have, I don't know if you are referring to the same city I am. There is one in Illinois that is spelled the same way. Mostly, it's Bourbonnais. Here, at least in Illinois. Question 6 in one final sports ball. Do they pronounce it locally as Bourbonus? Because, oof.
I'm not even going to get started on Scottish place name pronunciation. Which of the big four sports leagues is founded in its current form because most of the team owners had various disputes with one, Addy Livingston, and wanted to shut him out?
So, if you know which the big four sports leagues are, you got a 1-4 shot on this.
Yep.
I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, Addy, but my cat upstairs is apparently having a caterwaul, literally so.
I can hear it. Yeah, that's going right
what's
through.
going on with my cat
loud.
upstairs. I can't imagine anything.
I can hear right through.
Yeah, particularly wrong. I think if I know which cat it is, I think he's just needy and people are going to sleep and the door is closed, so he can't have the attention of an awake, conscious human to annoy. 10 seconds on this one, still waiting about 6 answers. Yeah, interesting. I've never heard it pronounced Bourbonus. I've always heard it pronounced Bourbonnais, but I've never heard it pronounced Bourbonnais by anybody from Bourbonnais. So, with that said, that might just be my hoity-toity Chicagoland coming through, because Bourbonnais is on, most generously speaking, the outskirts of the greater Chicagoland area. 25 made it in, about 15 made it right. I did accept the sport because it was faster than asking 6 people to clarify.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's entirely fair. There's not exactly any ambiguity there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the answer to this question, it is the NHL. It was the National Hockey Association. But yeah, Addy Livingston had his practices weren't agreed with by the rest of the owners, so they kicked him out and they formed the National Hockey League, which is basically the same thing, but without Addy Livingston.
They took that puck and went home, effectively.
Yeah, as you said hockey on that question, then you were given credit.
All right. Question number 7 coming through in the topic, that's a lot of paper.
Yep. Over 200 million copies of what catalogue are produced every year? That's twice as many as the Bible, although to be fair, most people don't get a new Bible every year.
I expect to see a preponderance of about 3 different answers coming in, just to kind of kibitz behind the scenes with you.
I'm interested to hear as to what the other prominent answers.
Well, 2 of those 3 answers I expected to see have come in at this point. Let's see if the third hits. And then actually, I'm going to mute the microphone for everyone but Addy here so you can hear what I'm referring to.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right, 15 seconds to go, gang. I'm still waiting on about half of our teams to pick a catalog. Didn't expect to see that answer. We'll discuss that. Yeah, no shame in freebieing. You get 3 of them. Might as well use them, right?
If you haven't used them by this round, then if you haven't used any freebies as after this question, then you guarantee you got the last 3 questions right.
See, you say that, but I've noticed that trivia teams are prideful, and even if they have the freebie, they will hold on to it because they're confident of an answer. And I have seen that hubris impact teams negatively on at least 3 occasions. Not so much online, but in my live shows. So time's up on this with 25 answers in. I expected to see commonality on 3 different answers. The first wrong answer I expect to see a bunch of, which I didn't see many of, but a couple teams put, was Sears, being a very popular cultural catalog historically in the U.S., notably in the first part of the 20th century. The other one that I expected to see and I thought was a great red herring was Victoria's Secret. But which catalog are we actually looking for here, Addy?
You're actually looking for IKEA. The IKEA catalogue prints 200 million copies every year. They are printed about 2.5 billion in the last decade. It's probably the most distributed publication in the world. I couldn't find stats on that count for all publications of all sorts. It was either non-fiction or fiction. But yeah, those statistics are definitive for IKEA catalog.
I wonder what the ink cost on the umlauts alone is on that.
No idea. It is, yeah. It's a huge catalog as well. It is not a thin book.
Question number 8 coming through is in the category people Addy doesn't like.
Yep. In the early 20th century, which inventor hired armed thugs to threaten, sue, and even attack filmmakers who defied his motion picture patent company's attempted monopoly of the industry?
So what we're saying is, all in all, a swell person, right? I don't know if we got a response from you if you're froze on that. We had a weird moment there.
Sorry?
Oh, I said all in all, a swell person, obviously.
Absolutely. Yep.
I have this weird thing where I'm trying to bring the term swell back into 2020 slang. Feel free to take that and run with it, please. You have my approval and my blessing.
I have found myself using the word y'all increasingly often, even though it still sounds weird saying anywhere in Britain, but it's just such a useful word.
I have too, and I'm
absolutely
strongly north of the Mason-Dixon line, but it is such a useful word in just the English lexicon right now that
absolutely,
yeah, it no longer feels like a regionalism, and it feels more like a positive affirmation of things. You guys have 5 seconds, by the way, before I hit close. 2, 1. And I've been told that there is a difference between between y'all and all y'all, and the difference is about 2 people from my friends in Texas.
Yep.
So, 25 answers in. As usual, about 2/3 of teams got this right, which we'll call him an inventor for purposes of this question. Were you talking about?
It is Thomas Edison, who literally would hire armed thugs to attack cinemas who didn't obey his patents. Now, actually, this is the reason Hollywood exists. Because
Really?
The MPCC was based out of New Jersey, and the farthest people could run away from so they could do their own thing was California. That is why So all these rebel filmmakers set themselves up in California, and that's the reason Hollywood exists.
Yeah, and to be fair, Edison had kind of a notorious track record of taking credit for other people's inventive work. Is that right, Addy? Notably, famously, Nikola Tesla.
And I do apologize there to Cabarrys who wrote him out because of the quotation marks. It was more a comment on the fact that he steals things and is a horrible person. But
he killed an elephant on purpose. Who does that?
Yeah, absolutely. He did so many awful things.
That and racism, which seems to be the title of 2020's memoirs in general. Question 9 coming through. We are at the penultimate question, guys. Freebie it if you have 2 to spare. The category is cool rappers.
Yep. Body Count is a heavy metal band active since 1991, fronted by which New Jersey gangsta rap artist?
Cat's going crazy again, Addy. I don't know what you're doing to him at what is now officially 5 in the morning, your time.
I'm still completely weak, which is why I didn't make any plans for Wednesday, because I'll sleep for a few hours and then just go to bed.
At this point, I don't think Wednesday is a problem you have to have, because you don't need to acknowledge its existence.
Exactly.
I swear I just muted my Slack notifications on purpose because they're coming through now. Yeah, it says paused, and yet they're coming through. That's all right. It's just that sound that you hear constantly. So I'm going to open it up on my phone so that it defaults there. Interesting question. If people want to support you for your work on this stream, Addy, if they want to send you donations, do you have a mechanism set up in place for that? Somebody has genuinely asked that as part of their answer.
Oh well. I do have PayPal. Cheyenne, there is not a final no. It is. It is. I will post it.
Yeah, please, by all means, post it in
chat. Thank you so much. I really
thank
appreciate
you.
That.
Last chance to answer this, by the way. We'll give you about 5 seconds.
My PayPal is mradamlewis@gmail.com. If you didn't know, my real name is Adam, although I go by Addy. I prefer to go by Addy. But yeah, that is. I have a PayPal at Mr. Adam E. Lewis, all one word, @gmail.com. Thank you so much.
And that is specifically PayPal, right?
That is specifically PayPal.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Nope.
21 out of 24 got this right. Name the gangster rapper.
Yeah, the category here clear. It is cool rappers. The answer is Ice-T.
I
I had no idea.
Go ahead,
So
I'm
I
sorry.
randomly saw this. Go on, sorry.
Oh, I said I think people picked up on the pun in the clue. Unfortunately, Vanilla Ice and Ice Cube were not the answer that we needed.
Yeah,
As we move on to our 50th and final question in the category of directors you've definitely heard of.
Yep. Which filmmaker was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for Toy Story? He also wrote Alien Resurrection, 4 episodes of Roseanne, directed 2 episodes of The Office, and he did some other fantasy and sci-fi stuff that everyone has long forgotten about.
I have opinions, Addy.
As do I.
All right, as long as we're on the same page.
I will say more once the question is closed. Yeah, I had no idea that Ice-T fronted a metal band. I've listened to some of the songs, and frankly, I think it's awful. The music is great, but I don't think that his rapping does it any favors. But that's just me.
Right.
Nothing against the guy. Don't really know anything about him or his music. His metal stuff wasn't for me, but cool concept.
He is one of my favorite. I don't remember if he actually provided his own voice in Rick and Morty or not, but my favorite member of at least that planetary system. 23 answers in. You guys have 10 seconds before we end this game. Last chance for points. Last chance to freebie. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we can call it a night, my friend, with 24 answers in and roughly half of them getting it right. F's in chat for Firefly, guys.
Yep, that filmmaker who was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, he wrote the screenplay for Toy Story. It is Joss Whedon.
It is, and my feelings have never been higher on this stream than they are in that moment, Addy. Why bring up Firefly? I love
Firefly, indeed. Yeah, the man himself is certainly very questionable.
Okay, that's fair.
But there's been a number of stuff that's come out. But I still have a huge appreciation for Buffy and Angel and Firefly.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you want to try to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, there's definitely become increasingly clear in recent years that he is a terrible person.
Right,
but yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, Addy, it is unfortunately midnight for some people, which is obviously way too late to stay up and do a pub quiz, like you know. So let's give the final results. They should be up on screen now, and I will give you the privilege of calling out the top teams if you so desire.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm still here. I want to. Yeah.
They should be up at your leisure, up the top 12 teams, right above your head.
Sorry. Yes. Yes. I zoned out there for a minute.
Oh,
sorry. Yes.
It's 5 in the morning. You're fine.
Yeah. I can be forgiven for that. The top 12 teams in 12th place with 119 points out of 150. Remember, Team Coast to Coast. 11th, 121. Gospodina. 10th with 129. Tackle Tuesday. 9th place, also it's our tied for 9th, 129. Who wants to be a puppy chair?
A pubic hair, I've been informed.
Who wants to be a pubic hair? Sorry, yes, it was the overrun there. Who wants to be a pubic hair? 8th on 131, Sleepy Sheep. 7th on 133, Solo. 6th, 135, Gregorian Chance the Rapper. 5th, 136, Sean and Carmella. Top 4 now, Crack Section 8 on 144. Third, Crack Section 8 tied for third with Brian Murphy backwards. Second place, it is no better social distancing than the Eastern Time Zone, who are picked by 1 point on 147 points. Your winners, Weird Lex, but okay. Well done, Lex. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone so much for coming along and taking part. I appreciate it so much. This has been one of the best things I've ever done. This has been hilarious. It's been great fun. I have loved every minute of it. Thank you so much, Jason, for letting me do this, for having me here. Thank
Addy,
you so much, everyone,
you put
for
together
paying
a great
attention.
game. You are a consummate professional. I adore you both personally and professionally. It has been my privilege to be a platform for you for 3 hours.
Thank you.
Before we let this handsome gentleman finally get the rest he desperately either needs or deserves, Addy, what's going on with the proxy pub quiz these days?
Yes, I apologize. I have been on a bit of an unintended hiatus. I have a lot of stuff going on in my life. But I will be getting back. I will be posting something on the page tomorrow after I have slept. Those will be starting up again. My intention is to get the next one out this weekend.
Fantastic.
At some point, yes. Yeah, so I run an international pub quiz. It runs every month. It hasn't run for the last couple of months, last 2 or 3 months, just because of issues. I have gone quiet, which was not my intention. But I'll be starting up again in the next few days. So basically it'll be 101 questions per month, a round of 26 questions and 5 rounds of 15.
Okay.
Which you just do at your own leisure in teams of up to 4. Send me the answers back. I'll send you back your scores and post a leaderboard. So you can find me on Facebook, at Addy's Proxy Pub Quizzes. And yeah, so it's a good fun quiz. People like it. There's a lot of teams I've got teams from 7 or 8 countries playing. So
fantastic. I'm going to make sure that short link works, and it sure does. That link there in chat will get you all the information you need for Addy and his proxy pub quizzes. As you heard, starting back up soon. Highly recommend them. If you haven't done them before, I've seen them, and they are great, and I'm pretty sure most of our people here who, whether or not you're aware of them, would enjoy them. As a reminder, if you guys want to send some love financially to Addy for the hard work that he put into this game, you can do so through PayPal, and that PayPal link is Mr. Adam Lewis at what?
Sorry, Mr. Adam E. Lewis.
That's right.
It's Mr. Adam E. Lewis at gmail.com.
And that link is in chat as well. Addy, I'm going to let you go to sleep, my friend. Have yourself a great night, or a morning, or a day, or a pandemic. In any event, one more to you. Guys, let's get some love and chat one final time for our special guest host tonight, the Quizzing Ronin, Addy Lewis.
Thank you so much.
Much love to you, my friend. Get out of my game. Go to bed. I love you.
Yeah, love you all. Thank you so much.
And as we let that handsome gentleman get to bed, we're going to send you guys over, as our stream is ending, to our friends in Vancouver. IQ 2000 has a game still going, and that seems as good a place as any to send you, so we're going to send you over there. Folks, I will see you tomorrow here, 8:30 p.m. Central for Mega Sheep. Thursday night, of course, our classic trivia game, 51 questions, different categories, but the same format. We'll see you then. That is 8 p.m. Central Time. And, of course, Friday night, 9 p.m. Central, another edition of Lingo. Addy, I only kicked you out because you need to sleep, my friend. Thank you to everybody, old and new, for joining us. I am here on platform 9 times a week. It's about to be 10 for our friends in the UK. Hey, Addy, I'm going to do Lingo at a UK-friendly time on Fridays. Talk to me later. Love you all. Let's send you to Canada. Bye.